Hello. Can we get it going? There we go.
You boys and girls, London calling. Now don't look to us. Phony Beatlemania is bitten the dust. London calling. See, we ain't got no swing except for the ring and the crunch of thing. The ice age is coming. The sun's zooming in. Meltdown expected. The wheat is going thin. Engines stop running, but I have no fear, 'cause London is drowning. I live by the river to the imitation zone. Forget it, brother, you can go it alone. London calling to the zombies of death. Quit holding out and draw another breath. London calling, and I don't want to shout, but while we were talking, I saw you nodding out. London calling, see, we ain't got no hide, except for that one.
Yes, you are listening to Smith Radio, and you may think it's kind of weird that the music is playing a little bit longer than usual. The intro, we're actually still doing show prep, getting this thing going. Oh, folks, I know everybody knows what the news is today. It's just so painful.
Nope. Up. Yep. Nope. Yep. 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 That's not doing it automatically. Engines stop running. The wheat is going thin. A nuclear arrow, but I have no fear, 'cause London is drowning. I live by the river. Now get this! London calling, yes, I was there too. And you know what they said? Well, some of it was true. London calling at the top of the dial. And after all this, won't you give me a smile? I never felt so much alike.
Well, good evening. You're listening to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, along with my good buddy, Kerry, who's doing some last-minute wiring of stuff. We got Joey on the line at Ground Zero in London. Can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, I hear you well. Can you hear me?
It's a little bit broken up.
Okay. How are you hearing me now?
It's just a little scratchy.
That's okay. You're in London. We're doing a Skype. We're Skyping from London. This is Smith Radio exclusive with first-hand information on the ground in London after terror attacks. Joey, talk to us. What's going on over there?
Yeah, well, a lot of stuff is going on. There were 2 attacks. Well, they thought 3. Now they say 2 terror attacks last night at the London Bridge, at the Borough Market, and there's an incident at Vauxhall that they say may or may not have been related to the other incidents. 3 people were killed.
What happened at the second one that you said they think may not be related?
Stabbings.
Wait a minute. So the original was what? Stabbings?
The original was a van ran over 6 to 7 people on the bridge. Then these people got out of their car. They were in the car, got out, ran, and just started stabbing everybody they could see in restaurants.
So that's the first one.
That is 1 and 2. 2 is the stabbings, 1 is the van. But it was at Borough Market, the stabbings. The van was on London Bridge. It's all right near each other.
So
now, what happened in Vauxhall was a separate stabbing incident that they're not sure. They said probably not related, but
really,
after a while, you can't trust these.
Well, right.
There was an article put up by the London police. They tweeted out, "Hey, be careful, watch out, be alert." Hashtag London Bridge, Borough, hashtag Borough, and then hashtag, you said Vox? How do you pronounce that?
Vauxhall. It's
Vauxhall?
Vauxhall.
Right, and the whole joke is, it's pretty sad when you have to hashtag 3 different things in a police notice.
It's awful. It's awful. The whole thing is awful. I mean, this is the 3rd terror attack in the UK within the space of about 2.5 months.
So how long have you been there?
I've been here 4 days.
4 days, man.
Yeah, I was here. This was my greeting to London, and I wasn't actually very far from it, I found out. I thought I was further than I was. I'm actually only about 2 miles from there. And, I'm so new, I didn't really know. And luckily, thank God, I heard about this on the news rather than in person. But today I did go out, and I was on the subway, I was walking around, and I'll tell you the truth. Remember the feeling, I'm not sure if you were around New York or Philadelphia during the 9/11 time period. The air was so tense, you could just feel the tension in the air. I didn't feel that here. And I'm not exactly sure why. It was pretty much business as normal.
So you mean tension afterwards?
The tension afterwards, the tension the day after, the weeks after.
And people were you're saying that right after this was done, it was business as usual in London.
This morning, if I did not hear on the news last night what had happened, and I lived without news or Twitter or Facebook, I would have had no idea what happened.
Oh. Hey, Joey, real quick, folks, we're talking with Joey, a good friend of ours, who is in London currently right now, just a couple miles away from London's Bridge. And where can people follow you on Twitter, Joey?
Yes, on Twitter, it's Real J Mannarino, Mannarino.
All right, make sure you're following him. And so you're in London, and you're going to be there for a long time, or how long are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'm going to be there for quite a while, actually. I'm getting my master's degree here, so I'm hoping that it gets better.
Yeah. Now, if you had known that things were the way they were, would you have had second thoughts about going there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, things are the way they are everywhere, in Europe at least, and right now, the United States, thanks to having President Trump, is on a pretty safe streak. But, I mean, this is an ideology. This is not a thing exclusive to London. We have problems in the U.S., in the cities, with other types of craziness that goes on. And, I don't know. I can't say that I would or wouldn't have, because I don't think there's a safe place in the world right now with this ideology that's out there to kill us.
Now, what about places? Now, you were in China. I personally was in Japan. I'm not sure if you've been to Japan or not, but I was in Japan long before 9/11, but it's been widely reported that they have a super, super strict immigration policy, and they don't
allow anybody in.
Right.
They don't allow anybody in. So therefore, they don't have any problems.
And are you saying that about China?
I'm saying that about China. I'm saying that about Japan. I'm saying that about even South Korea. It's very strict. You don't see people coming in and out of there. And I don't know when the last time I've ever heard of a terror attack in China.
Well, in Japan, during the initial Germany accepting all refugees, Syrian refugees, during that initial push for all countries to accept the refugees, Japan was criticized early on because they actually said that anyone who practices Islam is not allowed to come into the country, because the practice of Islam is to take over the current government and change it.
Well, Japan had an issue, so they may have been so wrong. I mean, what has done with Germany and therefore the rest of Europe, it's a total destruction of the continent. Honestly, she has ruined the European continent and the United Kingdom. It's a disgrace what she's done. They did not have problems like this to this extent every other week calls in the European Union and in the United Kingdom.
Well,
we never had this problem.
Right. I lived in Italy, just north of Venice, about an hour north of Venice. So I was in the northern part of Italy, which is more conservative. They have money, houses, things like that, just more conservative ideologies during the 90s, the mid-90s. And it was, it was as peaceful could be. It was a great time. Everybody was pretty much like a nationalist ideology where they came together for each other, and it was about Italy. It was about trying to, just live your life and be free, if you will.
What was their tolerance level for you being, not Italian, you total foreigner in there?
And also being in the military, because we had a huge presence there in Italy as Americans, and you can get a lot of different Americans get drunk, start fights, issues, things like that. So you could have some problems with the locals, but as soon as they knew that I was attempting to learn the language, I was invited to houses and house parties and pig roasts and get-togethers. The people of Italy, I have never been so welcomed as a foreigner than in any other place. Fast forward to that just before 9/11, 2001, just before September 9/11, that summer, I was studying abroad in Italy for 3 months. And similar situation. It was people were just going about their daily lives, no big deal. Their biggest problem was North Africans coming over and crime, prostitution, stuff like that. But now, fast forward to 2017, Italy's having a problem with North African Muslims coming into Italy with terror.
And it's a problem that's not going to stop anytime soon until they curb this migration. The Italian culture and the Islamic culture do not mix, period.
You say Italian culture. I think it's kind of more like Western culture, more broadly, I guess.
More broadly.
I think the big problem, and we've been on the air for 4 years now or so. It's been a long time since the middle of the Obama administration, and we're always talking about the philosophy of history, like what's really happened in history. And we've talked about what happened to the Native American Indians. It really was a clash of cultures where the new European culture coming here to settle just wasn't compatible. So it ended up being kind of like these little mini battles and wars throughout American history. And the bottom line is that the Native Americans basically lost. And what it seems like, but the main point of us talking about that was that these cultures were incompatible. They couldn't just live amongst us. They had to change their culture. They were kind of like this hunter-gatherer culture, and they didn't believe in borders such as property, like that you could own a piece of land. They didn't believe in that. And with Muslims, it seems like, the Quran basically tells them that you have to either convert somebody or kill them. That becomes incompatible with all other non-Muslim cultures. Either if you can't convert them, you got to kill them. That's just incompatible. The tolerance level is pretty much at zero. And I don't know. You've only been there for 4 days, so it's probably unfair for us to have you assess what the climate is over there with everybody's attitudes of the non-Muslims. But it's very disturbing that you say it went back to business as usual. If you're just joining us right now, we're live with Joey Manarino, who is actually on the ground in London. Can you walk us through what exactly happened? Like, how long was this terrorist attack going on before you found out about it, and where were you, and how did you find out about it?
Well, I actually found out about it, oddly enough, through Facebook. I just got a whole swatch of messages from people, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And my head automatically said, "Oh boy, must have been a terror attack," because as many people as I told I was moving to London for grad school and we'll see, everybody said, be safe, be safe, be safe,
right.
be safe.
That's funny because I actually found out about the terrorist attack by listening to everybody, not listening, but reading everybody asking if you were safe.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I was like, "Why? What's going on with Joey? What's happening to Joey?" And that's when I found out about what was happening.
I turned on the news, and they just said it was a major incident. Of course, they didn't want to rush to terror because they'll do everything they can to protect anybody from knowing that it's terror. I can't protect it anymore. And the news was cautious. The news was telling it like it was happening, I assume, by not being there. But a lot was being told, and I watched Sky News. We don't have that in the U.S., but that's what I was watching, was Sky News. And they were telling, basically, stay off the streets. And, it was very frightening, to tell you the truth, because, it's like the third day I'm here, and this already happened.
Now, one of your messages, you said that all of London is under attack. Like, what was your thought process and your feelings at the time that you text that?
Well, if you had been listening to the news, basically they hit London Bridge, then they got off of London Bridge and started running into the city, stabbing. I mean, they stabbed people at like 7 different locations.
I heard they stabbed and killed a cop because a lot of times the bulby, as they call it in London, they walk around with batons, nightsticks.
So I guess the nightstick is outgunned by the knife.
Yeah, they don't usually carry guns. Now, today, I actually saw 4 police officers with guns, and apparently that's a rare sight over here, which is just, I mean, to me, that's, coming from America, that's just unbelievable. But I guess it is what it is.
Right, because they're all armed here. And
yeah, they're all armed here. And over here, they are not armed whatsoever. They're armed with little sticks, and some just, I don't really know what their purpose is.
So it's interesting.
They're armed with something.
Like in America, if there was a gunfight, if you were armed, then at least you could get into the fight and have a chance to defend yourself. There, it was a knife attack. Are you allowed to carry around a knife, or is that illegal too?
To be honest, I'm not sure about that, but I heard that they were just throwing chairs at the people when they were going to restaurants. They were just
so embarrassing.
It's like, what is going on here? There's no method to defend
I'd
yourself.
keep the chair. If I'm attacked by a lion, I'm not going to let go of the chair. I'm going to keep it in front of me. You know what I mean? Like they do in the circus, where they're holding the chair out so the lion doesn't eat them. That's what I would do. But, gosh, that's so sad. So
they said on the news that it took 8 minutes to shoot and kill them. The terrorists. Now, I'll tell you,
that's insanity.
Like it went on a lot longer than 8 minutes.
It probably felt a lot longer to you. So were you in the hotel, or you're in a hotel? Is that?
Yeah, at the moment I am. I'm waiting for my apartment to be ready.
Yeah, please don't disclose where you're at. I'm going to keep you as safe as possible. So, you're waiting on an apartment, so you're in a hotel. So, were you in the hotel at the time, and you just found out about this in your hotel room?
I had just went back to the hotel, actually. I was out. I had just had ice cream because I'd been craving ice cream for days. And I had ice cream, I called an Uber, went back to the hotel. And as soon as I get back, I'm seeing all this insanity going on.
I hope you weren't in the location when you got the ice cream when it happened, because you would have just missed it. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I have not actually seen London Bridge ever in my life, to my knowledge. So I don't think I've seen it. I may have, but I think I would know, I guess. But
right.
I don't know what's going on. I mean, there's a different level of tolerance here for other cultures than I've ever witnessed before.
What do you mean by that? Can you expand on that? Like a different level?
In the U.S., you'd never see an advertisement on the side of a bus for Voice of Islam radio. And you'd never see people handing out Qurans on the street.
Yeah, tell us about the people handing out Qurans on the street. What's that all about?
It's about trying to convert people to Islam. And, they're just saying that they'll spread the good message of Islam. And
Well, we're all too young for this, but in the movie Airplane, in the very beginning,
bring it up.
and like all these different religions were passing out religious pamphlets to follow their religion to anybody who would take them at the airport. And of course, the joke in the movie was that it was annoying. So
it was so annoying.
The one guy ended up punching him in the face and body slamming the one guy.
The guys with the shaved heads and the orange robes. Didn't they have a ponytail in the back?
It was bald head with a ponytail. But my question is it kind of like that, or is there more of is it more aggressive? I mean, because the thing is
it wasn't aggressive.
Oh, it was not. Okay.
About 6 stands so far, and they have little tents up on crowded streets, and there'll be about 4 to 5 of them, and they will offer you a Quran, and that's what they do. They don't pressure you. They just say, "Would you like to learn the truth about Islam? Would you like to?"
It
learn
reminds
about
me
Islam?
of Jehovah's Witness. Really,
that's who I was trying to think of. Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
That's
what it reminded me of, and I've never seen that in the United States. I don't know if you have, but I never have.
Well, check this out, Joey. In California, of all places, especially L.A., you will see Jehovah's Witnesses walking up and down the streets all the time. Because they're the only ones that are actually dressed in a suit and tie in 95-degree weather.
Mormons will do it, but they have short sleeve with the black tie.
Yeah, no, this is Jehovah's Witness. And Hispanics that have converted Jehovah's Witness, speaking in Spanish. One person told me that there was an island that they were going to on vacation, and it was very strange when they got to that island. Everybody there was Jehovah's Witness because that's where Jehovah's Witness landed on that island, converted everybody in the whole island. So it's kind of crazy how they do it. And just real quick, folks, you're listening to Smith Radio, and we've got Joey Manarino on,
who's currently in London.
On the ground in London, and we've got a message board, live chat board going on, and we have Vanessa Delaney who says average time between terror attacks in Europe 23.7 days.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. Remember when during the Bush administration, we had 9/11, and then there was like no terrorist attacks on U.S. soil for like the next 7 years, it seemed like.
Well, including our embassies, like Benghazi. Because technically that is our soil,
right,
if you will.
Yeah.
That didn't happen under Bush, but that so many times under Obama.
So you kind of had to stay holed up into. Did you get the message from the police that you're supposed to run, hide, and share? Did you get that message?
It came across on the TV.
No way!
Oh, that's so sad. You know what it feels like? It feels like kindergarten. If you're in kindergarten and you're 5 years old and something really bad happens, the teacher will call that out to the class. Run and hide, and if you see anything, share it. It's really sad. So do the people there, I mean, you haven't been there long enough, but I'm sure we're going to get some good information out of you within the next several years that you're getting your degree, master's degree. And so we're going to be learning more and more as you've been there for a while. But I mean, what's the attitude? I imagine that the mentality of the people have got to be different than your average. Are they
fired up like us Americans would be? Like if this happened in America, I cannot tell you how fired up I would be.
No, I'll tell you, I was in a cafe this morning and I was eavesdropping on a lot of different conversations, and I didn't hear one person that had anger.
What?
One person, yeah, I heard somebody basically blaming, and believe me, I'm in London. This is like as liberal as New York probably is in comparison with the rest of America. So I don't want to give a false impression of the entire country just based off of London. But I heard one lady actually say, you see, this is why we need to make them feel more welcome.
Oh, that's...
My God. I mean, I don't know how much more you can make somebody feel welcome than London has. I've seen advertisement on top of advertisement for different things to do with refugees. I saw a program on BBC yesterday morning sharing the story of different refugees. I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable.
Well, they're letting them into, they're letting foreigners into their land. I mean, to me,
that's what I don't understand.
by
what
definition,
more do you need to do?
well, by definition, it seems very welcoming, right? I mean, they wouldn't let them in if they weren't welcoming. So,
No, not at all. I mean, all of Europe is letting people in by the boatload.
and you think that there's this feeling amongst British people that they're angering Muslims by some sort of bigotry or something?
I have heard that from what I've been listening to, and this is London, this is not the whole country, so I'm sure, I mean, there is a conservative group of people out there in England. I don't know where it is because I'm in London, and I know it's not here. But, they did do Brexit. They went 52% for leaving the European Union, so there is a conservative strain out there, and it's big. But there's a big election coming up here, and a lot of the polls are showing that the Conservative Party is starting to actually lose a little ground, which to me is unbelievable. I think if the Conservatives would lose this election, they'd basically be handing the country
just like France losing their France falls to 1,000 years of darkness now. You've got London electing the first Muslim mayor.
Yes.
Trump tweets out at least 7 dead and 48 wounded in terror attack, and Mayor of London says no reason to be alarmed. So this Muslim mayor comes out, tweets, Trump's ignorant view of Islam could make both our countries less safe. It risks alienating mainstream Muslims. London has proven him wrong. I don't know how that tweet.
Proven him wrong. Let's just put that out there for number one. And I don't even think necessarily that it's that he's Muslim or not Muslim. The man just has no strategy for these type of things. I mean, he was quoted as saying terrorism is part and parcel of living in a major city.
Yes.
So
why would he think that? We live inside the, I personally do, live within the actual border of the city. I'm not in some little suburb. I'm in the city. Terrorism is not part and parcel of my city, and it's a pretty major metropolitan area. This is not like some town or some glorified town like, oh yeah, we have a couple 4-story buildings. No, Cincinnati is a major metropolitan city, and I live in it, and I go downtown all the time, and I'm telling you,
it's pretty safe.
It is not part and parcel, and also none of the other cities that I know of, people that I know of that live in cities or near enough to cities, would agree with that assessment of the mayor of London. So I don't know what.
No, and neither would I. And honestly, this is what has happened when you've decided to just take in people that you can't possibly vet. No country is gaining anything from this.
Well, not only that, you're absolutely right. Not only vetting, though, Joey, but seriously, you're importing a culture that is absolutely incompatible with every single culture in the world.
Well, there's no traditional European culture. Yeah, it's just not compatible.
Like we were talking about before, China, Japan, Russia. Send Muslims to North Korea. They're incompatible with North Korea.
Well, it depends on if they adhere to the communist ideology. I don't know.
No, they would change to the Islamic ideology, which we talked about before, parallels communism.
Because Trevor Loudon, we had on our show, and he had I was shocked. He basically was saying that communism and Islamism, I guess, I don't know, they're almost the same thing, and I was like, wow, I need to read up on that.
Because in a communist state, the government is the religion of the people. You are to worship the government, in a sense. You look for the government for help and sanctity and safety and everything, as well as in an Islamic state, you must adhere to the government and the government's rules and laws and ways of life, and you
got Sharia law.
Yeah.
So Sharia law. Right. The thing is I wonder if communism is Sharia compliant. That's the big question. Because, I've always looked at communism. This is why I was very perplexed when Trevor Loudon said that. Communism is all about atheism, as far as I know. In fact, I think that it was Marx and Engels, when they wrote the Communist Manifesto that they felt that religion was a major problem, and that if we can come up with an ideology, a philosophy of ruling people that eliminated religion, that things would be better. So that's why I was kind of like, what? Really? But anyway, so we're talking to Joey Manarino in London. We're not in London, Joey is. And he is he's given us the rundown of what he experienced. So the attack went down. You were holed up in your hotel, and you were told by the cops to run, hide, and share. And you were already past the run part. You were into the hiding and possibly sharing if you needed to.
Yes, I needed to.
So did you share much on Twitter? Helping out?
I did not share much on Twitter, as much as maybe I could have, but I just sort of just stayed and watched. I wanted to know what was going on, basically, and I didn't want to make too big of a deal of it because, you know, both of my parents read Twitter. I didn't want them worried that I'm in a terror attack.
Oh, wow. Right.
So, of course,
it sounds like you spent a lot of your time telling people that you were okay, that you weren't.
I did. I had message on top of message asking if I was okay because it was so new that I had just come here. And I can't tell you how many times people said, "Be careful of the terrorists. Be careful of the terrorists." And it was like, wow, could this timing be any more ironic?
Right. Yeah. Now you said that people at home don't know this yet, but you said that when you went up to your hotel, that the lady at the front desk was she Muslim?
She was Muslim, the woman at the front desk. There's a big Muslim population in London. And honestly, it's not about Islam. There's 1.7 billion Muslims on the planet.
Okay.
And the vast majority do not want to see what goes on. They do not want to kill people. They do not want terror like that. But there is a sect that is ruining the world. And they're using Islam as that ideology for it. Yes, there are passages in the Quran that call for it, just like there's passages in a lot of books that call for a lot of things. But not everybody takes it up. Not everybody goes and does that. Most people have evolved past that state.
Right.
There's these radical, crazy people
that
are ruining the world.
Do you think that there's not enough condemning of it by the moderate Muslims?
I don't hear much of it. I'm not sure what they tell each other, but I think there needs to be a big, big deal made by everybody in every faith.
So if you were
every Muslim, every Christian, everybody needs to condemn this hard, heavy, and it needs to be eliminated because we're getting to the point where the whole world is going to fall to this.
Absolutely. And you're listening to Joey Manarino, who's in London right now. Follow him on Twitter at RealJMann.
ARINO.
There you go.
I got stuck.
You just got to have Joey do it. Just tell Joey to do it.
And we've got a message board when you listen to Smith Radio Live on Sunday evenings, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. The quick link will take you right to the live show at smithradio.info. You'll be a part of the message board, the chat line, and we got Sam Keels on the line again. As usual, Vanessa and the crew, we got everybody on tonight. And Sam Keels says every Muslim plays their role.
And here's something too. We were just talking about how everybody needs to condemn this. You have people in the cafe that you went to this morning saying that we need to do our part to be nicer to them so that they're not mean to us.
And that's what I don't understand. It's not about being nicer to them. It's not about doing anything to anybody. They have this in their heads. There is a group of people. It's called ISIS. And they want to destroy you. You can roll the red carpet out and let them destroy you while you stroke their egos, or you don't have to do that. But honestly, they're going to destroy you either way. And ISIS has said, we're going to infiltrate the refugee population.
So you actually, you put up a firewall right there by calling them ISIS. So now you you separated the moderates from the more extreme. Isn't the problem that if you just go to war with ISIS and people that are of this Muslim faith that is about jihad, and doesn't it now look like you're just going to war with all of Islam, and that's what like a major problem is?
That is a major problem. And honestly, I don't know the solution for it.
Yeah.
But out of 1.7 billion people, if they all wanted to kill us, I think we'd all be dead already, to be honest. But we need to take a very, very hard stance against the extremism. It can't continue.
Right. Kekistan Rose, who's a follower of ours as well, is on tonight, and the message was, yes, 1.7 billion people that are practice or claim to be Muslim or of the Islamic faith, 15% of them being radical would come out to be a million, 1.07, to be like a million radical.
Even more, I think about 10 million.
Right.
And that's why we can't be allowing people into our country like there's no tomorrow. We gain nothing. We gain nothing out of allowing people to our country that are refugees. They're using public funds. They're seeking destruction. You don't know who's who. You don't know who's who. And there's no way to know. You know, you can vet them until the day is long, even. You just don't know. They can lie. So,
and they're actually supposed to lie, right?
I believe there is a passage that if it will lead to furthering your ideology, if you need to lie and deceive until you can destroy, then go ahead and do it.
Right. So check this out. In London, I grabbed this audio soundbite from Prison Planet, Paul Joseph Watson. He posted this soundbite of a local eyewitness called in to a news station. I mean, we don't do that here, but apparently they do it there. He claimed to be an eyewitness, and here's what he said to the news anchor in London live while the entire thing was going on. And he claims to have seen the attack and the three guys jump out of the van.
But then definitely afterwards, when three men jumped out the van, then that's when they started attacking people on the road. And one thing I forgot to mention was, as they headed down the stairs, when they were running towards the people, they were shouting, "This is for Allah." And I actually sent a video in through to you guys, and I'm not sure if you can hear it, but you can definitely hear the people screaming.
And as far as the van's concerned...
Okay, so they go back to the van, and that's the narrative right now. CNN, all the talking heads, MSNBC's type. It's the van that killed the people.
We need to ban vans.
Ban vans.
We need to ban them.
And did you hear how that newscaster went directly when he said they jumped out of the van screaming, "This one's for Allah," and she's like, And that white van.
Let's go back to that white van. Unbelievable. That's just so
What do you
sad.
think about that, Joey?
Look, the mainstream media is never going to make Islam or ISIS or anybody the enemy, because then you have to then say that the government has ruined it. You have to understand, the government here is funding the media. It's not like all private media. BBC has a big part of funding from the government. The United States, they're privately owned. However, they're horrible too. I don't know how that happened, because we're the only country in the world that is absolutely free media, yet we have been overtaken by the Democrats.
And that's
unbelievable.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's funny that the song that we're probably going to get in trouble for YouTube by that. They played in the opening of the show is London Calling by The Clash, 1979.
Oh, wow.
Incredible song. And that song was all about the falling of London, the nuclear war era, and The Clash singing about how the BBC, the government, the police, everything's just falling apart, and it's that's just the way life is going to be. Which is ironic that I'm driving in the car this afternoon, coming to the studio to do show prep, and I swear to you, folks, that song instantly popped in my mind. That's it. Mm-hmm. Got to play that song on the show. It's
interesting that we had I think 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was all about getting annihilated by the big superpower USSR. It was all about that. And then here we are. They're gone. The threat of nuclear annihilation is probably subsided for the most part, because I don't think there's any way, there's no mechanism for an all-out, full-blown, all missiles launch type of attack by any country that could actually destroy all of America or all of civilization. But in the meantime, you got this cancer growing that is just spreading throughout Europe, And even though, and if you're a moderate Muslim or if you're a peaceful person that is tolerant of other religions, that is a Muslim, it's sad that you've been hijacked, your religion's been hijacked. But the bottom line is that there's these people that are just thinking that they can randomly kill as many people as they possibly can because they don't subscribe to the Muslim faith, the Islamic faith, and then as these people gain more and more popularity in these countries, they're democracies, right? So they're going to be voting more and more for people who are espousing for Sharia law. That's how you get the London mayor is now a Muslim, and he's saying, well, terrorism, it's going to happen in major metropolitan cities.
That and the Gateway pundit, Jim Hoff, put up an article yesterday, and he said, this morning after the third Islamic terror attack in 3 months, London Muslim mayor Sadiq Kahn told Londoners there's no reason to be alarmed. Kahn would not mention Islam, Muslim, or Islamic killers during his entire presser that he gave.
Well, he can't. He's Muslim. I mean, it's like he just can't do it. He's not going to be able to say
It's
that.
practically condoning it.
Well, just like Obama couldn't say anything other than ISIL.
Yeah,
That's all he could say was ISIL.
There's so many of our leaders that are not Muslim that won't utter the words radical Islamic terror.
Right.
It really boggles my mind when I see people that are not Islamic. They have no ties to Islam, but they will do anything. They will do anything to try to appease and not to insult.
Oh my goodness. So what are you going to do for the next couple of years that you're there? I mean, are you going to be like avoiding certain areas? Are you just going to be holed up in your bunker, or what are you going to do?
No, I mean, like I said, I think they're going to crack down. I really do believe they're going to start to crack down because it all depends on this. Actually, it depends on this election that's coming up. We have a big election here. It's going to be an issue if the Labour Party takes over.
What's the date of it?
June the 8th.
Oh,
4
that's
days.
right. Oh, wow, that's coming right up.
Yeah, and if the Labour Party,
it's no good.
Basically
liberal, Labour Party's no good, right?
Yeah, if they take over, then the whole Brexit is going to be out the door. They want to curb immigration, the Conservative Party. That's why Britain. But who with this? A lot of people are saying that Theresa May went too far with her speech today.
Well,
what about here's the problem. I just can't imagine what this is going to come to. But all the way up until recently, you have these different cultures in different countries. There was a lot of nationalism throughout the world, and they're separated by borders. And if a problem arises between these two cultures, they would go to war and they would fight it out, and a lot of people would die, and it was obviously a tragedy. War is tragedy. But at least you had like this geographical thing that you were fighting over. And now you have all like the people who would be fighting are completely melted into one geographical location. So it's like, how do you even start fighting this out? And what's, if they need to be separated, what is the solution? Do you just decide? Like, I almost feel like England needs to say, well, you know what, we just need to ban Islam, I guess, and anybody who doesn't renounce their allegiance to Allah has to be deported and kicked out of the country or something, or jailed or whatever. And it's almost like they got to go door to door and basically do this, which obviously would never work in America. But these European countries, they're a little different. I think when it comes down to it, what if there was a threat to the crown in England?
I don't think that's going to work here either, to be honest with you. I don't think they'd allow it. We're in a different world. The whole world would isolate the UK. The whole world would isolate the UK over that, and it would just be a problem.
Right. That would definitely. I mean, it's almost like a Trail of Tears type situation, you know.
Yeah, and you can't really say even that that's a solution, because there will be people that won't admit anything. They will renounce, and then they will be terrorizing. The real problem is that there's so many people that don't want it to come to that. But you have these insane people like the 3 last night that are going to make that be one of the only solutions left. It's wild. It's just wild.
I'm wondering what it comes to, like the people, the subjects of England. We can't call them citizens, right? The ones that are at the pubs that are just young and full of energy, and they love their country and they'll fight to the death for it. And you have these outsiders that are doing this. And
you know what? Nationalism isn't so strong anywhere in Europe like it once was.
Wow.
That whole love and pride for your country. And even in the United States, in my generation, it's dying out. It's being turned into racism, even though it's not racism.
Well, right. It's what they're calling it. I think they're losing that argument, though, because, we're a little bit older than you and remember how it was, and I feel like the older generations are rising up and speaking out, whereas in the past they would cower down as soon as they felt like somebody might find out that they've been falsely accused of racism, and in the past they would cower down because of that. But now it's not working as well, which is a really good thing, because then they'll stand up and say, don't call me a racist because I'm not a racist. When in the past it would be like, oh, he called me a racist. I'm going to have to fight this for the next year. I'm going to have to convince people that I'm not a racist, but it's just not working anymore. And I think that giant silent majority, which is like your Generation Xers, your baby boomers, are starting to rise up. And I think the millennials may have underestimated how big they are and how powerful they are, but because of how quiet they've been for 2 decades probably.
Forgive me for being late on this one. I was looking in my stack of stuff. There was an article, Londoners consider internment camps.
That's what I was just saying, like going door to door, right?
I'm looking for the article and I can't find it. I know it's out there. I read it. I went through it and I put it for the stack of stuff, but I can't find it. But there was an article. Somebody did write an article within the last 24 to 48 hours about Londoners considering internment camps for Muslims.
Has to be a big disaster in the long run.
Could you imagine? I mean,
I don't think it would end well. I really don't. I don't think that's the solution that they need to do. I don't know what the solution they need to do is. This is a real problem now. It's been a real problem since, many years. And
Fox contributor and Fox guest float internment after London attack.
There you go.
Network later apologizes. So
I knew that was out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Google.
Yeah, Google figured it out. Yeah, you're right. If it's not a solution, then you either A, have to accept that terrorist attacks are part and parcel of living in a city in Europe, or you surrender and England becomes Islamic.
Well, and like we were talking about Europe as a whole, within the last 24 hours, CNN reported this one, and I picked it up. PJW tweeted it out. 80,000 Germans or 80,000 people in Germany cleared at a rock festival due to terror threat. CNN now reporting terror threat cleared, festival resumes. So the entire 80,000 people cleared from a rock festival because of a terror threat. And now, okay, go back to the rock. Yeah, you go ahead, knock it out, man.
You guys are good. Go back to partying, I guess. Meanwhile, they could get raped in those groups that they do.
Forgive me for not knowing or hearing about this. And Carrie was the one who explained it. Just explained to me something. I did not know that.
Sweden was really bad. Yeah, Sweden was. Did you hear about that, Joey? Where they would do these team rape. It wasn't like a gang rape. It was like a team of people where, kind of like the center in a basketball game.
Or like a mosh pit.
What I'm saying is somebody has to select who's the person who gets to do the raping.
Oh, okay.
Because everybody else played backup, and they would surround the woman and protect the raper from outsiders trying to infiltrate to stop the rape. And this was, I'm talking, you've heard of this, Joey?
I have never heard of this.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe
it was huge in Sweden because it was going on at the rock concerts. That's why there are no more concerts in Sweden.
Yeah, these teams, and these were Muslim immigrants into Sweden. They would rape as many as 25 women. A lot of them are underage at rock concerts. And they would do it in a team. So they would surround the girl, they would do the raping, but there'd be like 24 guys in a circle around them protecting the rapers from being stopped by outsiders. Yeah, and then they would move on and go and do another and hit another. They do like 25 rapes in a rock concert. It got so bad that a lot of big artists have refused to do any concerts in Sweden, and then I've heard a couple of them are saying, well, this is happening all over Europe, so we're not going to do any more concerts anywhere in Europe, which is just such a shame. So that kind of stuff was happening with the refugees and those kinds of, I guess, immigrants that are fleeing from Islamic countries. That's what they're saying. They're fleeing, but really it seems like they're infiltrating the West. From the Middle East.
I mean, and if you ever see the refugee populations, if you ever see them coming on the boats, you don't really see many women. It's a lot of grown men. And it really just makes you wonder what's going on. But what makes me wonder more than anything, not so much about why they're doing it. They have a purpose, okay? They have a purpose, they have a reason, and there's nothing we can do about it. What I don't understand is why the governments here are allowing this. I don't know what they have to gain. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to destroy their countries?
Well, you have the pulse of the liberalism probably better than anybody else because you were just in college for 4 years and you're younger and you're just around that generation more than we are.
I still don't understand it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you certainly can understand that they believe that society is better when you have more diversity, and that eliminating or trying to curb that kind of diversity leads to bigotry, which is hate, and hate is bad, and hate causes violence and all that kind of stuff. So they feel like they're making the world a better place by making sure that we integrate this way.
I can understand the subjects of the governments thinking that, but the people that are leading these countries, they can't actually believe this. I just cannot imagine that Angela Merkel can look herself in the mirror at night and say, I have done a service to my country by bringing these people in. I cannot, my mind cannot be so dumbed down to actually believe that.
Well, when you've got these leftist liberals who have a completely wrong notion, wrong idea, if they truly believe what they're saying, and let's just take it for the face value that it's not some underlying George Soros puppet string pulling, but just take them for their face value, like Nancy Pelosi, and we'll get to her later on. But you got these crazy nut jobs who seem to really believe these crazy notions and these crazy ideas that we look at and say, hey, it's been proven time and time again to be wrong. What are you doing? They're thinking with emotion and not logic. They're also in a position to where re-election or election or the powers that, they want to maintain their power, maintain their money, their paycheck or their power. And by playing on the emotions of less informed,
bleeding heart types.
Right. I mean, it'll be very nice. Those who are less informed, those who are poorer, lower on the stature of class of money, tend to always believe the person that's more emotional or that cares. Just like in The Simpsons, you got the woman that's, well, somebody think about the children. I'm like, come on, man. What are we doing here?
Right. Well, there's also something else that you pointed out. You point out that you don't believe that Angela Merkel believes that, but I've heard another theory that she's had a major worker problem. Like, they don't have enough workers, people of working age, young men or whatever. And so they need to bring them in. So there's kind of a kill two birds with one stone here. They bring in the workers that can rebuild or the economy of Germany, and also become that taxpayer type that ends up, funding the German government. But also, everybody in power knows that, and I don't know why, but immigrants tend to vote more liberal than conservative. And so by bringing in, this is the problem with America, all the Democrats want to bring in as many Mexicans, illegals, anybody outside of America to come in large quantities, especially refugees, because they can start voting very soon.
Well, the ones south of the border, Honduras, Guatemala, very, 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 very poor. Bring them up here. Now they got a paycheck.
Right, and they'll reward the Democrats by voting for them, for paying them. It's almost like a pay for the vote. They're like literally paying for
your
votes
grandma,
here.
and you've told the story many times before, but Carrie's grandmother at one point in time was kind of down on her luck with her husband and whatnot. He didn't have a job. A Democrat come knocking on the door.
They were canvassing.
Can you vote for me? She's like, I don't even have the money.
I don't even have a job.
I can't vote for it. Oh, you don't have a job? Give your husband this number. We'll hook him up. And it got him a job, so she votes Democrat for life.
Yeah, for the rest of her life, she voted Democrat until Obama.
Barry Sotoros.
Yeah, when he came along, she was like, all right, I've had enough. Yeah, there's that kind of stuff, which is, Republicans can do that. Republicans have so many business owners, small business owners, people with wealth that can do, hire a landscaper or something like that they could probably do a better job of that. But the point is that they believe that if they can bring in all kinds of illegals, that a high enough percentage of these people will vote Democrat over Republican, that they can change the demographics. And I think that all leaders, all liberal leaders worldwide are trying to use this to their advantage to stay in power. And the problem is what you said, Joey. It's destroying their country. And it's like they're trying to weigh the pros and cons. Should I destroy my country to stay in power, or should I risk losing power to make Germany great again? And they go ahead, and it's just they're too selfish.
Check this out, Joey. We've got an interesting conversation going on in the chat tonight, and there's a couple of different things that people are talking about. One, Kekistan Rose says you need to strike back hard, fast, and decisive. You need to flood every single no-go zone with police and soldiers. Search every mosque, find the ones that are hiding weapons, arrest every single person with ties to terrorist groups, lock it down. And then we have other folks with understanding that. However, like Vanessa says, I feel the same way, but if you start searching mosques because they're mosque, where does it end? That's what I'm afraid of. Police state, ? What do you think about that?
It's a big thing to balance. I mean, on one end, you want to monitor every single communication coming in and out of these suspected terrorist people. But here's what I don't understand. A lot of the times, especially with these last few terror attacks in the UK, we've heard they were known to police sources. They were known to
right.
They were known to have odd communications. If that's the case, if they are known, if they are even so much as suspected, I would lock them up immediately in solitary, no speaking to anybody confinement, because you can't put them in with the general population in a prison, because they convert the populations in the prisons, and then you just have the same problem continuing and continuing. But at the same time, what's to stop the government from them monitoring my communications or your communications?
Well, you are in the UK. Right, you are in the UK, so you probably are being monitored.
Right.
We may have to bail Joey out of jail after this show. No, but nobody wants thought police, and so it definitely seems a little bit like a slippery slope when you say that as soon as people start to have strange communications, they should be locked up right then and there, solitary confinement. It's almost, I have this philosophy that you should have at least acted illegally before, you know what I mean? And I guess maybe in some place,
when you act illegally, you're costing maybe 10 people's lives.
That's right. So it becomes this issue.
It's such a dangerous thing at this point, because we now have the ability with all these things. I mean, look at what they do now. They just drive vans through people. They don't care anymore.
So
they don't care anymore.
Right. And so my argument is if we're willing to cross the line a little bit by locking up people for having communications that are questionable, that we know lead to 10 people being dead, because why would you be planning this? Why would you be having these communications? And just going door to door and saying, you know what, we just we're going to go back to being a Christian nation. Several hundred years ago, if you weren't a Christian, if you weren't a Protestant in England, then you might be thrown in jail just as is. I mean, look at Italy. Right. If you weren't a Catholic, you had to get out. Right. You would be excommunicated by the Pope.
I understand that. I think that we're going to end up having to have much more stringent monitoring. I don't think it's going to be necessarily door to door. I would hate to see that, to be honest with you. I would hate to see that. But something has to happen. Yeah, and I think whenever they say this person was suspected of terrorism, I personally feel that if they're even suspected and they have reasonable proof that they're communicating with jihadists from Syria or jihadists within the country, they need to just be locked up or deported. Here's the other thing. A lot of times in the UK, I watched a documentary. It was called The Jihadists Next Door. And they took their passports. They took jihadist passports that you can't leave the United Kingdom. I mean, could that be any stupider?
Yeah, you would think that you want them to.
Right. Exactly. I would take them, I'd put them on one plane to Syria, drop them the hell off in the middle of Syria somewhere, and then take their passport and say, have fun. And a lot of them were on the video, on the documentary, saying, we wish we could go and live under Sharia law. We want to go home and live in the caliphate. We want to live in the caliphate.
So why are they fleeing?
Well, no,
I don't get it.
I'll be honest with you. I think that they are doing this with the intent to spread the caliphate. This is the second caliphate.
Right.
And their whole notion is, and in their book and what they're told and what they read and what they raised in, is that this earth, this world is all y'all's. And we just happen to fall upon certain areas that is theirs, and they need to take it back.
So that's what the caliphate is them taking it over.
Yeah, for them to take back the land that is theirs. The whole argument with the Jewish with Israel and the Palestinians, Muslim versus Israel, Muslim versus Christian. Is that Israel says this is our holy land, this was given to us by God, and the Muslims are like, no, this is our holy land, and we've been told by our God that this is ours, and we're going to take it back.
Right.
So it's this never-ending, perpetual war that they will never live with anybody in any kind of peaceful situation.
Right. And Joey was saying earlier that there's the moderates that might not subscribe to that at all. And so it just ends up being a total quagmire.
Yeah.
I think the first...
Believe me, I have Muslim friends that they hate the terror not more than we do, but they hate it just as much as we do, because they say all the time, now we're suspected for no absolute reason. They were born in America or they came to America young, and they love America. They love the country they're in. And say, because of these people, now we have to live in fear of what's going to happen because of them to us. And it's not fair to anybody.
Yeah, and it's a shame that there's this. A lot of people freak out. They freak out a little bit about the possible, just the thought of a threat of violence. But I don't think that any Muslim who's not engaging currently in something that looks like terrorism has a whole lot to worry about. I think that actual attacks...
No, they don't. But what they do have to worry about is people looking at them a certain way and automatically assuming they have those ideas. You know what I mean?
Right. So they don't like the feeling of discrimination.
That's what they're upset about. And you know what? I probably would be upset too. And I can understand. I can understand both sides of the argument.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is I guess they need to differentiate between the feeling of having bigotry aimed at you and the feeling of, I wonder if this guy has a suicide vest on.
Well, and that was the thing, too. They were saying that they were wearing fake suicide vests.
Suicide vests, so
Right.
that way people wouldn't try to fight them.
Or could you imagine if you see somebody that looks like they have a suicide vest on? I mean, it's the summertime in England, in London. I imagine the weather is fairly nice, and you see a guy with a vest on. I'm not running after him. I'm running away from him.
Exactly.
Is London fog real?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen
But it seems like they're in a fog right now.
Rain.
Yeah, my dad said my dad lived there for a year when he was 9 years old. Actually, it was Scotland, but close enough. He said it rained.
Whoa!
He said it rained every single day.
How dare you accuse Scotland and oh, dude. Dude, the IRA is going to bomb something now.
But they're in Scottish. What? How dare you? All right, Joey, it was so nice to have you on. I'm so glad that you were able to give us a sort of firsthand update on what's going on in London. I mean, you're in London. I'm actually glad you didn't have a firsthand account of what happened last night.
Me too, because I might not be here. They just 7
my
kills.
goodness.
They're just putting it on the news again, and ISIS has officially claimed responsibility.
Of course. Well, we thank you so much for being on. And what time you got there right now?
It's 11:05 p.m.
All right.
Okay, so we'll have to set up a second clock in the showroom.
Right. Well, it'll look like Zulu time and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we'll have all the times up. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll be hearing from you again soon. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Follow
you will.
Joey
Thank
Manarino.
you.
What was your Twitter again? What was your Twitter again?
Real J Manarino. MANNARINO.
Real J Manarino. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night. God bless.
All right. So, on to the news of the week.
Wow. It's just a couple of tidbits just to top that off, finish that out. Like I said, at the very beginning, the opening of the show, I played the song London Calling. In 1979, Joe Strummer, who wrote the song, said that we felt that we were struggling, that we were struggling and about to slip down a slope or something, grasping with our fingernails, and there was no one to help us. That's the reason why he wrote the song London is Calling and Armageddon Time. That's kind of like the subtitle of the song. It's amazing how some of these writers come up with some of these songs. And not only just why it's relevant today as it was back in 79, history's repeating itself just in a different manner, just in a different fashion. You know, back then it was one thing, and now it's something else. It's the good versus the evil all over again. You had the white van that plowed through the pedestrians on the London Bridge. 3 terrorists stabbed people in the Borough Market wearing fake bomb vests. Total 7 killed, dozens injured. Police shot and killed 3 terrorists. First cop on the scene had a baton. CNN host Reza Aslan tweets this out about Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump, this piece of SH is not just an embarrassment to America and a stain on the presidency. He's an embarrassment to humankind. This coming from CNN, who on a reality show, Aslan actually ate human brain.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
did he get any smarter?
No, apparently not. Apparently he's losing his mind. We did the show. France falls to 1,000 years darkness. London falling fast. We here in America are becoming more and more the beacon of hope, the light, the lighthouse, if you will, out in this crazy world. But we've got to be vigilant about this and not let it slip by. Like in the 80s, we thought we won the Cold War. We thought we won against communism.
Right. That was a big fail.
And we walked away.
Big fail. We didn't realize so long. What was it? 2 generations practically?
Yeah.
The Cold War. It was all about America and its allies and the USSR and its allies, and allies more like it's probably the dominoes fell and they took them over, and yeah. But anyway, so that was communism versus capitalism, and there were borders and there were certain member countries of these different ideologies, and they were always had the barrels of the gun facing right at their heads at all times. And of course we hated that, and we all knew it was a fact in everybody's mind that it wasn't if we were all going to die in a fiery, hellish death of nuclear warfare. It was when. We knew it was definitely going to happen. It's amazing. I don't think any of us would have believed it if somebody from the future came back in time and said, yeah, it doesn't happen. It didn't happen. We didn't all die in a fiery nuclear death.
Right.
So it's amazing that it didn't happen. But what we didn't know was that this ideology called communism is going to be, it doesn't have borders. We didn't know that. 2 generations, it was all about if you were in the Soviet Union, if you were under their rule, or if you were under one of their states, if you're under the rule of one of their states, that you had to live under communism, and that's just the way it is. And one day maybe they'll get defeated, and then we won't have communism. What we didn't know is that this lives in the hearts of people. And that they can infiltrate everything, and they've infiltrated the big one that people need to remember and realize and never forget and always be fighting it. And we will never win the second Cold War, which is what we have now, if we don't win the battle of the Department of Education, because that's where it all starts. If you have any children, you know how it works. If you've ever noticed that your children behave differently than you did in any given circumstance, it might be because they experienced the world growing up a little differently than you did. Well, the communists know this, and so they take them at the youngest age possible, and they teach them about the joys of communism in school. That's what the Department of Education does. Their job is to make sure that your children grow up to accept communism as the better between the two choices of communism and capitalism, and also to hate capitalism, hate capitalists, and to think that they are evil and that they're greedy and all this kind of stuff. So that's a big battle we got to win there.
Kekistan Rose on the message board. If you listen to Smith Radio on Sunday evenings live, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the shortest link to get there would be smithradio.info. You could also go to smithradio.com to the website, and there's 2 red buttons, one at the top left and one at the top right. One that says Live Sunday. Click that. It'll take you here. The other one says iHeart. You can listen to us on iHeart Radio on your cell. I don't think iHeart's installed on radios in cars yet.
I think you can. I don't know.
Maybe one day. Might have a smart radio in your car and you can download apps. I think there are. I think you can. Anyway, so check that out on iHeart as well. Kekistan Rose, just now put up on the chat something very interesting. I'd like to read it to you folks. Kekistan says, in a world of chaos, the only thing you can do is stay honest to the truth and laugh while it all burns and see what comes out the other side. We're at a cosmic impasse. There is equal chance we come out the other side rising like the phoenix or be wiped away for civilization to begin again, new and try again. All I can do is post my memes and try to influence in the direction I desire. Other than that, hashtag praise Keck.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen based on that, you know what? Listening to you read that kind of gets my noodle going, and it makes me realize that if I had to predict the future of Europe, what's going to happen is it's going to fall to Islam, and it's going to go into a dark age, and it will come out when a very strong, secretive society forms that creates a new enlightenment period and teaches people, hey, we don't have to be oppressed and live under this tyranny, and that maybe we could have freedom of thought and tolerance of different ideas and thoughts. And it'll be like history repeating itself all over again. A lot of people don't know this, but you're taught in school by the Department of Communism that the Dark Ages was a period when Christianity took over.
Oh, it was Christianity that definitely took over the Dark Ages. Yep.
No, what really happened, a lot of people do not know this. This is going to be, you ready for your mind to be blown?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Go ahead, blow it.
The Dark Ages was probably more of a result of the mini ice age. Is your mind blown yet?
A little bit. I'm listening.
Yeah, well, okay, here's the thing. Civilization is powered by energy, right? And energy comes from humanity's ability to grow and raise food.
Correct.
So that you can feed yourself and you could procreate and you have lots of kids and your family gets big and then you can have a big farm and then they have a lot of kids and humanity is spreading and spreading and spreading. And if you can put a damper in that any way possible, it would be to limit people's ability to make food.
A lot of scientists say that, quote, global warming would actually benefit the world.
Yes, and this is what they're talking about. What they mean is that there'll be a larger area of the Earth's surface that you're able to grow lots of food. And I'm going to tell you right now, if we had a global cooling event that limited our ability to make food, we would go into another dark age. Another thing about dark ages, disease, but the big part is the disease. It killed off a lot of people. Like a big chunk of the population died because of these plagues. But the plagues would have probably happened because of the weakening of the immune system, because the less food, the less ability to grow food, just the whole thing just came collapsing down. And it wasn't Christianity.
No.
They're just blaming it on Christianity.
But it's easy to go down that road.
You know where Christianity came from? Because when Rome was on top of the world and civilization was at like this pinnacle, the barbarians came to the gate and they let them in. Right. And the Christians said, we shouldn't be barbarians. We need to be more like Christians. And Christianity got humanity through that bridge. The bridge between the great civilization of Rome and the Enlightenment period, the bridge was Christianity. And that was what got humanity through to the other side of the Dark Ages.
And I'm going to butcher this. I can't even do that. My brother, who is a huge history buff, he and I were speaking last night, and he said that during the Crusades, he said it came down to two absolute critical battles. Two, in the end, that if weren't accidentally won by the Christians, we all would be speaking Arabic. We all would be under Islamic rule, Sharia law. It was the first caliphate. It was, like I said, it was accidental. I don't want to get into the battles because I'd butcher it. But
right.
One day we'll have Stephen come on, my brother, who's just an incredible mind on historical battles.
He loves military history, and he goes way back.
Yeah.
He goes all the way back to the beginning of civilization.
But think about that. I mean, I'm talking, 1,500 years, 1,000 years ago, we were on the edge of losing civilization to Islam.
Right. And that's another part of it, too. You got your crusades and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people would argue that a lot of the barbarians that were infiltrating Rome and caused the fall of it was actually Islam.
Right.
It's very possible.
Right.
So, yeah. So, or future Islam, if you look at the timeline. Because the fall of Rome was, you got these barbarians, and do you think it's a coincidence that Muhammad created the religion of Islam right around the time when that was all really on a downswing, big time? It's not a coincidence at all.
No, definitely not.
So it is what it is. People in the Department of Education blame Christianity, and they say it's Christians caused the Dark Ages. No, the Christians got you through the Dark Ages.
Right.
That's
I'm gonna be honest. He broke me. I'm going to be honest. He broke me. He broke me.
Oh, Kathy Griffin. So we got to talk about that crazy woman.
This is painful. This really and truly hurts.
Oh, that was Pocahontas.
Our Native American who won fair and square as a political pundit of sorts.
So we had two things this week. We had Kathy Griffin, and then we had Bill Maher.
Where is my bill? Where is my...
I can find a bill for you.
I got my...
Do you want please tell me you have the soundbite of her press conference, the first 90 seconds of which are just comedy gold.
Yeah. At Julie Borowski on YouTube, pretty famous girl. She actually reported directly on the presser. And here's her take. This is her follow-up. She explains the press conference and does a bit of method acting, if you will. So she's actually taking on Kathy Griffin.
This president, of all people, is going to come after me? He messed with the wrong redhead. On second thought, he broke me. I am the victim here, not the guy I depicted with the bloody and decapitated head. And certainly not his kids. They keep tweeting about me. Look, I apologized. I really screwed up by not realizing that this would hurt my career. Why are there still consequences? I'm so sorry. It's because I'm a woman. Women these days can't even pose with decapitated heads without being criticized. Men and ISIS have been doing it for years.
White men.
Sexism. I'm an edgy comedian. I'm going to say and do shocking things. And if enough people get mad, I'm going to apologize and not stand by it. Then I'll have a press conference and play victim the entire time. Did I mention I'm a woman?
That was...
Oh my gosh. So that was Kathy Griffin.
When you do the Google for the press conference for Kathy Griffin, hit video.
Yeah.
And all the videos that come up, it's about the third one down. You see her, she's in a white background with a red wig, and her name's Julie Borowski, Borowski. She's hysterical. Her YouTube channel, she does a lot of these parody comedy things, and one of which she talked about and discussed seriously. If she were to hold up the head of Hillary Clinton that was bloody and on fire, she would be in prison. I mean, think about, maybe not that drastic, but think about it. If any conservative libertarian ever did anything like this, I clipped out 54 seconds of Kathy's 31-minute press conference.
Yeah, the first 90 seconds is really where it's at, but I don't know what you go ahead.
I got 54 seconds. This really is Kathy, and listen to the words.
We might have to stop it a couple times because it's amazing. Like, there's so much in it. Okay. If you can get it.
I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. He's a bully. I've dealt with older white guys trying to keep me down my whole life, my whole career.
Trying to keep me down my whole career.
So right there, she's pulling the older white guys. It's like, hey, I know I'm white, but I'm identifying with all you non-whites out there, and I want you to catch my back because it's all about the old white guys.
Right. I mean, who else would it be?
She's playing the
I'm
sex
a woman
card.
in a very male-dominated field.
She's playing the woman card.
I do. I love making people laugh more than anything in the world.
Well, then she must be miserable.
And I have learned over the years that sometimes when you do stand-up, and I've done it in a war zone, and I've done it at Walter Reed Hospital, and I've done it at Carnegie Hall.
Oh, she's playing the military card.
Oh, she played that Yes, yes.
Sometimes people want, a joke that's out there and a little crazy.
Really?
So regarding the image that I participated in, that apology absolutely stands. I feel horrible. I have performed in war zones. The idea that this, made people think of this tragedy, to have been touched by this tragedy, is horrifying and it's horrible. Trust me, if I could redo the whole thing, I would have had a blow-up doll and no ketchup.
What does that mean? A blow-up doll and no ketchup.
I don't even. What is that even supposed to be funny? Was that part of the act? Oh, you didn't even get to the fake crying. I look closely, and one of the big things that people like, your Lacey Petersons, Scott Peterson.
I was going to say Lacey. I didn't get a soundbite on her.
Well, no, these are convicted murderers.
Right, because Lacey's the one that...
And by the way, Scott Peterson and... there was another Peterson. Who's the woman that killed her child because she wanted to go party?
Right.
Was Lacey Scott's... I think they're both Peterson. And they're not related.
I hope
if your name's Peterson, you need to just change your name.
Jump
not good.
Jump off a bridge.
You're not going to win your court case. No way. Oh, your name's Peterson? Oh, this ain't going to happen. No, but anyway, they did the crocodile tears thing. That no tears whatsoever, no watering of the eyes, and they do the fake cry, and it's like, no, that's not gonna work. So Lacey's the one that got killed.
That's his wife. That's the wife.
So who's the one that killed their daughter to go party? Gotta find that.
I don't know, dude.
Oh, anyway, maybe we'll get.
So what was the point?
The point is that Kathy Griffin did the choking up tears. Let's see if we can get her to cry a little bit.
Kathy Griffin will now make some comments.
Will she?
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Griffin.
Yes.
I am really nervous right now. I've never done a press conference.
Dude, she's a stand-up comedian. Shut up.
Really know how they work. Feel free to jump in. And when I get nervous, I like make jokes, so I'm probably gonna stumble and stuff.
She's gonna make some comments, and then we'll do questions. Okay.
I sort of had a speech prepared,
so
let
her
like
talk.
My notes are by the wayside. It's all off the cuff. Look, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. He's a bully. I've dealt with older white guys trying to keep me down.
We heard that part.
You guys know him. He's never going to stop. I know him.
Wait,
let me talk.
I'm sorry.
Ever in the history of this great country, which is that a sitting president of the United States and his grown children and the first lady are personally, I feel trying to ruin my life.
How is that?
They're trying to ruin her life. Oh, by the way, Casey Anthony.
Casey Anthony,
that's mother who wanted to party, and she got off.
Was her middle name Peterson?
Oh, damn
it. She got off? I thought she got convicted.
She got convicted. Okay, she got convicted.
I don't know if she did or
didn't. So Kathy is now blaming who?
The kids, but here's the thing. The whole thing is about how they're defaming her, they're bullying her, but can you give an example? I mean, I understand that Trump supporters are barraging you. I get it. We're on Twitter too. We get it. I mean, the barrage is real. You're going to get it. It's going to be like a tsunami. And when you get good at it and you get used to it, you'll be better at it and you'll be fine. But you got to give an example. You can't sit there and say that the grown kids of Donald Trump are bullying on me without giving an example. Was there a tweet? Did they call you up on the phone? Did they hold a boom box above their head below your bedroom window? I'm trying to make jokes for Brian. He's not even listening.
The boom box above the window, that's love.
Yeah,
that's love.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Pure unadulterated love.
The old John Cusack trick. So anyway, I mean, is this what's happening? Give us some examples or something, right?
Forever. You guys know him. He's never going to stop. I know him. Let me talk to like a camera, like I'm talking to him. And I might make a couple jokes because I'm super nervous. Everyone's pointing to their camera. I'll just this one. All right,
give her a glass
sort
of
of look
water.
in this direction. All right, so I know him. All right, so the Donald, it's me, the Kathy. And if you guys don't know this, if you meet him, he wants you to call him the Donald, which I've always thought was the weird. And I remember saying to him the first time, okay, I'm the Kathy, and that went right over his nest. Okay, that was a joke about his hair, but I have seen eggs in it. Like I think I've seen, allegedly, I am teasing the president because this is America, and you shouldn't have to die for it. The death threats that I'm getting.
Whoa. I'm going to educate her and everybody listening right now. Death threats are never real. When have you ever heard? Think about this. Let this sink in. How many murders have you ever heard of where it turns out the killer was making threats beforehand? Maybe in a domestic...
okay, that's different. But if I threaten... Carrie, I swear to you...
I'm going to kill you.
Next
thing you know, I wind up dead, and then Brian's the lead suspect. But
I warned him. I warned him ahead of time.
It wasn't me because he didn't do the thing that I told him not to do, or else I'm going to kill him.
It was the one-armed man.
It was the butler
with the candlestick.
Right. It was definitely
in the ballroom.
How do you kill somebody with a candlestick? Anyway, so here, rule number 1: death threats on the internet are never real. If somebody's going to kill you, you're not going to know about it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, death threats are never real. Can we make that a new internet rule? Death threats are never real. And if you're seriously worried about it, I mean, I'm not going to threaten your death. I don't think that you should threaten people with death on the internet in any way, shape, or form. But if you do, I know you're full of crap.
Kekistan Rose says Nicole Kidman had a stalker in her house.
Okay.
Vanessa replied, was it Tom Cruise?
Oh, damn. No, she didn't. Oh, my goodness.
Silence, I kill you.
Oh, so anyway. Okay. So nobody should have to pay for it with their life. No, you know what? Did you die? Seriously, did she die?
She's saying her career is dead. I didn't know it was resurrected.
You mean this whole time I thought she was talking about her actual life? She was talking about her career.
That I don't know.
Nobody should have to pay for it with their life's work.
Yeah, maybe she's missing that one.
Oh, anyway, so moving on.
Are constant, and they are detailed, and they are serious, and they are specific.
They're not real. They're getting specific because they're really good trolls. It's never real. You will never be killed by somebody who's threatening you over the internet. It's not going to happen, and please don't prove me wrong.
Today it's me, and tomorrow it could be you. So, yeah, I'm an obnoxious comedian. I'm not the most famous person in the world. I'm just standing here with Lisa. I have an amazing First Amendment attorney, Alan Isaacman. If you're not familiar with his work, he won the landmark case, The People versus Larry Flint. I believe so passionately about this. If I don't stand up and say this, I'm afraid there's going to be some 12-year-old nerdy girl like me in Forest Park, Illinois, who's going to maybe be watching me to see what I do. And this bully and this president of all people is going to come after me? He picked the wrong redhead.
Wait, is he coming after her?
No, she's going in her mind.
What is she talking about?
She's in a psychosis trance right now. She's in a trance.
Brian is 100% right on that. She thinks that people are killing her. She thinks that the kids are after her. Now she said the Donald's after her. Meanwhile, she's talking about him like they're old friends. Yeah, he makes me call him the Donald, and I say I'm the Kathy, and it just flies over his bird's nest.
With eggs. There's a guy named Roy Masters. Look him up on the Google. He's an old guy. He claims to be on the radio for 56 years. And he talks about how people go through life in a hypnotic trance, like in a hypnotic state where they believe in this imaginary thing that's going on in their life that really is not. And when us that aren't in a hypnotic state look at them, we see how crazy they are.
That's how you identify. Most people who are crazy don't know they're crazy. In fact, I think none of them know.
But because they're in this hypnotic dream state, if you will. They go through life. Oh.
If you tried to call them crazy, they would definitely
This is what it explains it perfectly.
You live here? Yes. Well, maybe you know what a zombie is. When a person dies and is buried, it seems there are certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
Horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring.
You mean like Democrats?
Oh, that's.
Can you say mic drop, anyone? That was a real movie, and that was really, really Bob Hope back in the day.
Oh, that was. He's actually looking a little bit young there.
He looks like he's in his 30s.
No, he's way older than that because he was born in like 1899.
He was born 50 years old.
He was 50 when he was born.
Dude was old, bro. I'm just saying.
Oh, so he's actually 30, but he's actually 80.
Correct.
He's 80, but he was on the earth for 30 years. Anyway, wow. We get deep here in Smith Radio. Oh my gosh. So anyway, Kathy is doing the crocodile tears. If you didn't know, if you happen to be in a coma and you just woke up, or if you were cured of being a zombie and you just now joining us, Kathy Griffin decided that as part of a gag in a photo shoot, she would hold up a bloody severed head of Donald Trump in a still shot. Her photographer who decided to who
came up with the entire scheme, his name is Tyler Shields.
Okay, he's not getting anything. He's not getting any backlash whatsoever. He is running this thing straight to the mag. He's going to advertise from now on. I'm that guy. I'm the guy that came up with Kathy Griffin.
Did you want a meme? You want a meme? I got you a meme.
Oh, memes are us over here. So she's got Donald Trump's severed head. Now, when I first saw it and heard about it, I really didn't care a whole lot. I thought, oh, geez, here's another double standard they're going to get away with again. And I knew it was a really poor attempt at a joke. It wasn't funny at all. I never viewed it as a real threat to Donald Trump. I thought it was kind of funny that people were feigning outrage on the right. Believe me, we're all friends. We all know that it was an attempt to blast them with their own double standard. I don't think anybody really thought it was a serious, credible threat. However, let's fast forward now. We're walking through the timeline of events. We found out from TMZ that Barron Trump was just watching his cartoons where a little 11-year-old kid, and they had a little news break, and this 11-year-old kid's dad's severed head was being held up by some crazy ginger looking like a psycho.
Think about it. I mean, just really think about this. Your father is the president of the United States. You do not live with him because he's in D.C. You're in New York attending private school. And
you got to finish your year out.
You got to finish your year out. And you know that your father's life has been threatened before.
Certainly.
During the campaign. There are multiple times where we were at rallies. And
he's surrounded by Secret Service. He's got to wonder, what are all these people, all these armed giant guys in black suits for?
Never had before in our entire life. So his world's upside down in the last 2 years. And now all of a sudden this crazed, psychotic loony named Kathy holds your dad's bloody severed head in the air. It's what ISIS does. This stuff really, really happens in real life.
So he freaks out and cries out for his mom. Mom runs in and he's crying to Mom, "Is Daddy okay? I think something might have happened to Daddy." That's when this stuff gets real. That's when it's real. That's when you realize your joke just traumatized the hell out of a kid who's probably every day. Here's something that Kathy and all the other never Trumpers, I don't care if you're a rhino, I don't care if you're a cruise crew conservative that has reservations about Trump, or if you're just a complete treasonous Democrat, which they are. They are full-fledged, full-blown treason against America right now. I don't care if you're any one of those people. This is something you need to know. These are real human beings. These are people who have lives and feelings and wants and desires, and they have children, and sometimes they have wives and husbands. If it's in the case of Donald Trump and his children. You know, they have fears. They eat their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They put their pants on one leg at a time. And you guys are acting like these are some storybook characters that you can terrorize on a daily basis. And you're traumatizing an innocent little boy. All these people are innocent. You call in Donald Trump a racist, a Nazi, literally Hitler. Guess what? Right. He's a human being, and he loves his country, and he's done a lot of good for a lot of people. There's women, black women who are coming to his defense because they worked for him. They were his employees. And when they hear these being called a racist against black people, they're like, wait, what? I worked for this guy. What are you talking about? You guys are a bunch of liars. You're a bunch of terrorists, and you're a bunch of traitors for condoning this and acting out on this and acting like that he should be assassinated and all this stuff. You are all evil people that deserve to be silenced. I mean, you should not have a microphone. You should not have a video camera. You shouldn't have a still photographer in front of you taking pictures. You should be shamed out of the limelight completely. I mean, every one of you. All the way from Kathy Griffin all the way down to some dope on Twitter who wants to tweet out stupid stuff about how evil Donald Trump and his family is. And that's how upset I am when I hear about what happened. Because I forget too. Hey, these are human beings. And so you hear about an 11-year-old kid. This kid's the same age as my daughter, my own daughter.
It's a couple years older than my oldest daughter.
To think that she would run into my wife and screaming, asking what happened to her daddy because she saw my severed head on TV, just disgusts me to no end. To think that my daughter would have to go through that, and to know that that's exactly what Barron Trump went through. It's disgusting. And you're an evil person. I'm actually looking at her on my computer screen right now, and I wish I had her right in front of my face, because I would say you are an evil, vile person who deserves to lose everything. You know, you already look like a bag woman that's living underneath a bridge abutment. You look like you hit the bridge abutment. You should stay there, and you should have a cardboard piece of thing with the black marker on it said "will work for food" or whatever, because that's all you deserve. That's all you deserve. And all you people that support her and have the same feelings about Trump, you know what? If you didn't vote for him and you wish it was somebody else, well, guess what? Now you know how high I felt for the last 8 years. And the difference is I at least supported him for the office. You know, it's all about America, and it's all about love of country and love of the office. And I respect the Constitution enough to believe that it was a fair election 8 years ago and 4 years ago that elected a full-blown communist. And I sucked it up. And you know what we did? We took to the airwaves and we just fought his policies using our First Amendment, freedom of speech. And
we never called for his death. We never did anything vile.
Right, and absolutely not. And not just because we might have a visit by the Secret Service. It's just wrong. And what you did was wrong. And all the people that do stuff that's similar, you're all wrong. You're all not just wrong, you're evil. You're an evil person. You deserve to have everybody look at you with scorn and disgust for the rest of your life. That's what you deserve.
And you got these women on The View. Star Jones comes back to The View and literally making fun of Barron Trump and saying
Joy Behar.
Well, Joy Behar invited Star Jones back to the show.
They're ugly. They're
disgusting.
Ugly on the inside. Yeah. Sure, they're ugly on the outside, but you're ugly on the inside.
Can't fix
you're
that.
You're a disgusting person. Anyway.
So check this out. This was...
I would say that to Joy. I actually like Joy less than Kathy Griffin. All right, sorry for interrupting. I'm mad.
No, apparently. Well, Breitbart, which if you don't follow Breitbart News, you should follow Breitbart News. Breitbart did this article about The View and about Kathy Griffin and how disgusting all this is in the news media and, CNN, the fake news, The View, which is not news, but it is there to attempt to twist and change the minds of the viewers. Breitbart put this YouTube video clip from 2000, November 11th of 2000, when Norm Macdonald went to The View.
He's a comedian, right?
Right, and that's the whole point for putting this here.
He's a guy that talks like this.
What is funny and what is not funny? What's a joke and what's not a joke? And this shows clearly how the left, because Joy Behar and The View, even back in 2000 with Baba Wawa was on the show then too, and how they have a clear agenda. They have no sense. They have no idea what humor is, and humor that is funny is very closely related to the truth. That's why it's funny. To hold up a severed head of anyone. We got banned on YouTube because we put up a fake. We didn't put it up. It was a video we put up. Somebody did a fake video.
We believe it's very. Let's put it to you this way. There's no verification. It's real.
No, this was Hollywood stuff. Somebody put up a video.
It could have been real, but there's no proof of it.
It looked like somebody was going to chop the head off of somebody else, but before that happened, the screen went black.
Right. And then it faded to
what looked like a human corpse dressed up with a head on its chest. And it just rolled through.
I thought it was on his back.
On his back. Okay. Yeah. That could be made. That's Hollywood trickery. Come on, man.
Easily done. Hollywood would have been like, what?
We got banned for a year on YouTube for that. This is a real human being she's talking about. And so, anyways, let me get to The View. This is Norm Macdonald. Play a little bit of this, and I'm going to cut it off, and then you, Carrie, will find this very, very interesting what The View has to say about Norm. I had no idea what Norm Macdonald's.
This is 2000,
November 2000.
Okay. Wow, that's a long time ago.
Had no idea Norm Macdonald's views, but neither did The View. They didn't know his views either.
Okay.
And they had him on.
Hi, what's up, man?
Okay, Norm, you're Canadian.
Yes, I am.
So what do you think of this whole presidential mess?
Well, I hope that...
stop it real quick. She must be talking about the debacle of 2000 because the 2000 election ended up as a draw. And
pretty much.
They had to start hand counting ballots in Florida to figure out who won Florida.
Do you know that who the justice... Supreme Court justice was that finally said, "This is over. Bush won."
I know we're going to know it, but it was
our good rest in peace, our good friend Anthony Scalia.
Oh, he was the one? Yeah. Oh, that was from the Supreme Court. He was the fifth vote, right? I guess. Okay. I thought there was a Florida court that verified the election results. But it probably went to the Supreme Court.
Right. Well, okay. It's always got to when it has to do with Democrats.
Oh, right. Of course.
So they introduced him on the show here.
Hi, what's up, man?
Okay, Norm, you're Canadian.
Yes, I am.
So what do you think of this whole presidential mess?
Well, I hope that the Democrats don't steal the election from the winner, you know.
What?
What? That's a shocker.
I hope the Democrats don't steal it from the winner.
They did not know that was coming.
No.
Who knows?
Listen to the crowd, though.
It's mixed.
Yeah. You like George Bush, don't you?
I love George Bush, man. He's a good man, decent. You know, none of this.
They show a picture of George Bush and him hanging out together, shaking hands.
Okay, Norm Macdonald.
He's not a liar, a crook, murderer, or anything like that. So it'd be good to get the. See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House.
What?
And get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
I don't even know what he's referring to, because Al Gore...
He's referring to the Clintons. But he's going to get into Bill Clinton. And they are not ready for it.
But Al Gore was running against him in 2000.
I know. But for the last 8 years, we had murderers in the White House. It's good to get the murderers out of the White House.
That's weird because that wasn't even, that would have been considered highly conspiratorial back then. But we know now, based on, learning a lot of truth since then, that he was on to something.
Who are the murderers?
Yeah. Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, we're not allowed. You're not allowed.
I think he might be referring to Vince Foster.
Okay.
At the time. Because I can remember back then when my parents would talk about Vince Foster often.
Okay.
I'm just guessing here.
All right.
I mean, they have a long laundry list.
No accusations without.
That's a little too far.
That's the way it does work.
Let's just go on to the next person.
She is not happy.
Yeah.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Oh, it's not mine either, and I'm being very nice, okay? Be a good boy. Now, Norm.
Do you never hear that?
No. Listen, we don't need to talk
want to get
about
into
that.
this, and I don't want to hear it, and this is not the place to make those accusations, and you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on to it.
Okay.
Oh, that was pretty funny to me.
Dude, he's got them triggered right now.
They are beyond.
They had no idea.
Barbara Wawa admit right there, you just heard it, that Norm Macdonald pretty much ruined her week.
Yes.
Get with it. There you go.
This is a live show.
Not for nothing, Norm, but you have been properly chastised by Barbara, so I'm not going to ask the next.
So it's a live show?
Apparently.
The last live show they do, maybe.
I don't know.
I thought it was a matter of record.
Shut up.
It's a matter of record.
Okay.
Let me do this, okay?
I'll tell you what's a matter of record. You will not be invited back if you don't shut up. All right, now.
Oh, I think that's over with. That ship has sailed.
Dude, did you see where this is going? They're trying to he was coming on for an interview.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get on with the interview.
And he is just blasting.
But the first question crashed it. She shouldn't even have brought up politics.
Right.
Let's talk football.
All right, manslaughter.
Let's talk football.
He's on a mission.
He's not letting it go.
He's not letting it go.
Let's talk football. Oh, great. Manslaughter.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Okay, so this interview was about 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
This was the entire interview. It ended when Baba Wawa said, "This is done." And this is how it ended. This is 32 seconds. This is the end. Listen very closely at what and I'd like to get a hold of Norm Macdonald, see if any of this has happened to him.
People always told me Hollywood was like incredibly liberal and biased, and I thought it was untrue. But
You want to talk about the millionaire?
Yes, I do.
You have 10 seconds to talk about the millionaire.
Don't tell how much.
Don't tell him what I won?
No.
Oh.
Apparently he was on a show called
anything
Millionaire.
like that.
Well, what are you trying to ask him then?
I don't know. He doesn't answer anything anyway.
Okay, so he's on the millionaire tonight, and he's on Friday nights, and
on Monday his taxes will be audited.
Oh, hell no.
Dude.
Hell no.
Dude.
They think.
Dude.
They think, what is, who's calling you? He thinks that, he thinks, or I should say, she thinks that it's okay for the Democrats to go ahead and use the IRS as a weapon. And we know that that's what happens. And even though she's just an actress in Hollywood or whatnot, a member of The View, that it's not that important or not that serious. But it is. It's deadly serious because they did do this. They believe it's allowed. They believe that that's what the government's there for. It's there to aid you in your pursuits.
So so she knows that those who get audited are the ones who go against the Democrats. You go against a liberal ideology. You go against what we believe in. You will be faced with punishment, and that's called the IRS.
The government punishment.
The government punishment.
I'll tell you what, progressives have destroyed this country. I've had long long discussions with people about this. The IRS was put in by people, progressives, communists, if you will, who were manipulating the way the currency works in America and how the government gets funded. The government was funded just fine using other means of income other than taxing people's incomes like that, and then coming up with this giant bureaucracy that's done nothing but abuse citizens in a way that is pretty much unconstitutional for the most part.
I'm only going to bring this up because the good folks that are on the live chat line right now, they brought it up initially, Mr. Carey. This is not my fault.
Okay.
I will have to comment on this. Kekistan says that the rich family rep was appointed by the DNC. Hannity has implied that some members of the family encouraged him to continue seeking the truth. Seth Rich, DNC IT guy, killed walking down the street in D.C.
Right.
Said it was a robbery, didn't take it. He had like $1,500 worth of stuff on him, watch, phone, money, things.
Right.
None of it was stolen. And I was on Twitter, and the Gateway pundit, Jim Hoff, who I've never seen him to be wrong about anything.
I've seen him to be wrong one time. One time.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but
just one time.
He can be wrong. Okay.
I won't bring it up. I won't embarrass him. I had a good conversation with him at the New Media Correspondents Gala. So, yeah, I'm not going to call him out. But he's right about everything else, just that one thing.
Seth Rich was at a bar the night before.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That bartender had visited the White House a week earlier.
Oh, are you sure?
I don't know, Doc. I'm just saying.
I heard that his when you visit the White House and you sign in, that's public record.
Yes.
I did hear that his name is signed in there and it's public record. I did hear that.
Bernie Sanders supporters are suing the DNC because they're receiving death threats. And
why?
The death threat was your body may wash up dead on the shore.
Well, that might be another Bernie Sanders supporter warning his friend. He might be warning his friend, dude, you got to be careful. Your body might wash up on the shore, which is absolutely true. If you're going up against the DNC, you absolutely the body count is amazing. So,
Kekistan says DNC tech director slipped up and tweeted out some incriminating evidence of money laundering. Do you want the screen capture? Please go ahead and send that.
Yeah, go ahead and send. Just
SmithRadio@gmail or just send, you could DM it on Twitter.
Yeah, at Smith Radio. SMYTHRADIO. You guys should definitely be following us. You want to hit the notifications and also make sure you share this with your friends. We love to gain followers. We need to. Here's the thing. I know there's a lot of accusations flying around that people that do what we're doing are just a bunch of megalomaniacs and we just want to be famous and all that kind of stuff. No, we got into this long before. We're not riding the Trump wave. We didn't know nothing about Trump when we first started doing this.
Because if there's a Trump wave, let me know when we're on it. Just let me know. Just let me know.
So, no, we got in this thing when sometime in the middle of Obama's second term as president, because we were very concerned. It appeared at the time as though he was writing executive orders. Each individually seemed like a little bit overstepping his bounds, but as a totality, if you look at all of his executive orders in totality, there was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. It looked like he was going to eventually abolish the presidency, suspend the elections, and become dictator for life. It really did look like that. And that's not being paranoid or conspiratorial.
Because we saw what happened to Venezuela with Hugo Chavez. They were a democracy. He circumvented their constitution to allow him to stay in power.
Yeah.
With executive orders.
And I know what is that law of the internet when as soon as you bring up Hitler, that you lose the debate.
Oh, right.
Whatever that. Right. It's not Murphy's law. It's Godwin's law. Godwin's law. As soon as you bring up Nazis, you lose the argument. But Hitler did that. Hitler was elected the chancellor or something like that of Germany, and one of his first actions was to abolish the presidency, and he became dictator for life. So, but it did look like it. So we started the show, and it's always been my policy, now and forever as far as I'm concerned. It's about the movement, and the movement preceded Trump. Trump became the champion and leader of it, and then we all, as a movement, said, this is our guy, let's jump on board. That's what happened with Donald Trump. And as part of the movement, and you know, it's not a self-professed thing. I mean, it's just facts are facts. It's because of what we're doing. We're considered one of the leaders of the movement, but there's a bunch of us, and we're all important. And so my whole philosophy is that we all need to be making sure that we're following the leaders because they're doing a good job of doing their own little part. And they all do something unique. And sometimes ends up being fights between some of them for whatever creative differences. But that doesn't make each one of them individually less important than the other. Right. Like, for instance, we're huge Mike Cernovich fans. And it's because, you know, there's other people that are in the movement that are like, oh gosh, he's hurting the Trump movement, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. But it's more of a personality conflict between some of these people. It's just the way he does it. You just got to understand what Mike's doing. And I think it's effective. What he's doing is effective. There's other people that are doing completely different things that are also very effective. There's some people that are saying, well, we need to be more legitimate. We need to appear more legitimate. We need to appear more mainstream. That's fine. I think that what you're doing is important. But if everybody tried to be that, then we'd all end up looking like a bunch of rhinos.
Right, and we don't want that.
And there would be some.
Right.
There would be some people that would start to one-up each other in professionalism, and all of a sudden it would be more about looking the part than being effective. And so it's important that there's some people that are doing that. There's also the conspiracy theorists. This is important. Let me talk to you guys about conspiracy theorists. So there's some Trump leaders out there, Trump supporting leaders out there that are like, well, you know what, we shouldn't be condoning or supporting conspiracy theorists. Here's the thing about conspiracy theorists that's very, very important for everybody to understand. Journalism is about getting down to the truth. And nobody at first really knows where the truth is. That's why we ask questions, because we want to get to the truth. Somebody may give you an answer that's not true. They might think it's true, or they might know it's false. Doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, you have to ask enough questions and get enough information to be able to either come to a conclusion, or maybe your audience can just come to a conclusion. If they want to jump to the conclusion without proof, that's on them, whatever. But here's the thing about conspiracy theories. In order to get to the truth, every once in a while you're going to have to go down a rabbit hole, all right? And some of these rabbit holes are deep. Some of them are so deep that they end up leading to a dead end and misleading you and all this kind of stuff. And if you really think about it, our landscape is covered with rabbit holes, okay? And every once in a while, that rabbit hole that nobody wants to go down may, in fact, have the truth at the end of it. And if you have a bunch of people that are like, oh, man, nobody wants a conspiracy theorist. We shouldn't be listening to conspiracy theorists. Well, if there were no conspiracy theorists out there whatsoever, and nothing but these mainstream people that are only following mainstream things and not going down rabbit holes because we don't go down rabbit holes, guess what? Somebody's going to walk right past the rabbit hole that has the truth in it because nobody wanted to go down that rabbit hole. And that's why conspiracy theorists are so important. They could be coming up with crap all day. They could be coming up with contrails, poisoning the world, and all kinds of crazy. By the way, contrails is definitely a dead-end rabbit hole.
Yeah, leave the contrails up in the sky. Don't.
But the same people that went down the contrail rabbit hole have also gone down rabbit holes that discovered facts that led to truths, uncovering of a truth, a reality, a real thing, real news that we would have never known about if they didn't go down those rabbit holes. That's why you can't sit there and ostracize these conspiracy theorists all day long. It's important.
Right.
They're important. They're an integral part of journalism. If you don't have conspiracy theorists at all, you're going to leave the truth behind all the time. That's what's wrong with the CNNs, the MSNBCs, and it's funny because now they're the conspiracy theorists, right? They're going down this dead-end rabbit hole called Russiagate. We all know we actually went down these rabbit holes, and we beat them to the bottom. And when we got to the bottom of these rabbit holes, we're on our way up. We're on our way up from the Russiagate rabbit hole, and we're passing CNN, we're passing MSNBC, and we're passing Fox News, and the Cincinnati Enquirer, and all these local news people that are still going down these damn rabbit holes. And we're like, dude, we got to the bottom.
Right, we're done.
You can go ahead. You can go
done.
ahead. If you want to go ahead and see the truth for yourself, that's cool. But we've been there, so we're going to move on. And we did.
Local Cincinnati still is talking about Russia as it's real.
Well, one thing I've noticed, and this is 5, 9, and 12 too, this is the local ABC, NBC, CBS.
Right. Well, they're handed down talking points and what they're supposed to do. Right.
They are literally, when you watch the 11 o'clock news here in Cincinnati, local channel, they spew the talking points that they're given from the network, the parent networks. And they just say them, and I'm listening to them, and I'm like, you're dead inside. You have no soul. Because they're just saying it. And you don't know. They have such a poker face. You can't tell whether they're disgusted that they're saying it or they're disgusted because they believe it. You can't tell. And so, as far as I'm concerned, they have no soul. And you shouldn't be listening to them because they really are wrong. And they're fake news. They should know better. And that's another thing. CNN has gotten to the bottom of the rabbit hole. And you know what they said? We like it down here. And they stayed.
Right. They like it down in the pit. In the pit.
So that's my theory on the conspiracy theorists. I think it's important. And so, but we all have our part. And we're not doing this because it's not a zero-sum game. We're not like, hey, if we bash some of these Trump supporters, maybe we'll get their following. No, that's not how it works. In fact, if all the Trump supporters were following all the Trump-supporting leaders, they would all have the same amount of followers because all the followers are following the right people.
Right.
But there's a problem when somebody like Mike Cernovich has 250,000, I don't even know, I'm just throwing out a number out there. It's growing all the time. And he has 250,000 followers, and then you got somebody like Bill Mitchell who has 250,000 followers, and you find out that it's not even close to the same 250,000 followers. I think that's a problem. You should be following all these people. You should, when they come out with a cast or a live video or Your Voice America comes out with their show and Smith Radio comes out on Sunday and you got InfoWars coming out with stuff all the time, you should be trying to catch as many of those broadcasts as possible. And you should be listening to what their take on the news is. Some of them are breaking news, even though, by the way, Ezra Levant, what is your problem? He fired Jack Posobiec from Rebel Media. Very stupid. Very, very stupid.
For what we were talking about, Seth Rich?
Well, we're not 100% sure why. But there's a lot of people out there throwing around the rumor that Ezra was done with Seth Rich, which kind of makes me wonder, who got to Ezra Levant, who is the CEO, I guess, or founder, or the person who runs Rebel Media. So very disappointed in Rebel Media for that. I would think that Lauren Southern and Gavin McInnes, who are both the big stars there at Rebel, they can't be too happy about losing Jack Posobiec. He was the rising star for them. He was blowing it up. And he was their White House press correspondent. Firing Jack Posobiec means you no longer have a White House press correspondent. So it seems pretty stupid to me.
It does seem. I mean, because Jack seems like the kind of guy, and he told us when we were there in D.C. with him that they pretty much give him free reign to just keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, and then out of the blue, no.
But you told me to do what I do, and this is what I do. I do this.
Right.
So who knows? We may find out sooner than later. But let's wrap up this whole Kathy I've thrown up in my mouth Griffith thing real quick.
Did you throw up in your mouth or did she throw up in your mouth?
She attempted it as a joke.
Oh, yeah.
She's trying
she
to
thought it'd be
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
She thought you get a lot of laughs out of that.
Yeah, didn't get no laughs from me. Daniel J. Flynn, who's a writer for Breitbart, wrote an article, and the title of the article is Kathy Griffin Hopefully Decapitates Partisan Comedy, a Joyless Oxymoron.
I like it.
The high wit, highbrow kind of stuff there over at Breitbart. Good times. InfoWars sells a T-shirt of Kathy holding the head meme.
People were mad about that.
At CNN terrorists.
Yeah, people were mad about that. People were posting screenshots and pictures of the T-shirt and saying, "I'm talking Trump
conservatives."
supporters.
Yeah.
We're saying, "Are you okay with this? With them selling a T-shirt like this?" Because it's that the whole thing is it's the image of our president decapitated. So why are we making T-shirts about it? I know you're trying to make a point about CNN as being ISIS, but just having the T-shirt probably not a good idea. And you know what? People on Twitter were saying that.
Dag nabbit, I probably should have bought one.
It's probably for sale still.
Oh, you don't think they took it down?
I don't know.
I bet they sold a boatload of them. Because PJW retweeted and tweeted it out too. Not only that, Cernovich tweeted it out.
I get what they're saying. I agree that CNN is ISIS. I believe that everybody that was cheering on Kathy Griffin with that thing, they're all terrorists. They're all traitors. They are the enemy of the United States. And I hope they either repent or they go down in the Civil War, honestly, because I don't want them in my country. I don't want them a part of my society, my civilization. It's as simple as that.
So check this out. After the press conference that crazy woman gave, Lucian.
Yeah, Wintrich.
Yep, our good buddy Lucian tweeted out a video. I guess he took a video with his cell phone. There at the press conference, Kathy walks away from the podium like it's all finished, and he tweets out, TGP reporter trolls Kathy Griffin at presser. The dude held up a picture, showed it to Kathy Griffin as she was walking out, and it was Kathy Griffin holding out the head. The head was covered over of her lawyer.
Oh, what?
And holding out the picture, holding her cut off head of her lawyer, and the reporter kept going on and on and on, and he said, "This is artwork," and he's holding up the lawyer's bloody head. TGP is best website in America. So it was hysterical.
TGP is the gateway pundit.
Hysterical. They trolled her like that, and
that's what Jack Posobiec calls breaking the fourth wall of journalism, where you make yourself the story, which is normally frowned upon by a lot of journalists. But he that was his shtick from the get go.
Vanessa said he pulled a Cernovich.
Oh, it's, well, okay. Maybe I shouldn't give Jack all the credit for breaking the fourth wall, because I guess Cernovich does that too. But he becomes the subject of the report. So, for instance, you go up and you get the camera going, you start recording, and then you scream out something to get a reaction. So, like when he was in Austin, Texas, he screamed out, "Bill Clinton is a rapist!" On the microphone in front of a big crowd of liberals. And of course, they assaulted him. They were forcing him out by kind of pushing him slowly, and he was kind of being escorted by a cop. And then finally somebody punched him, in which he pretty much punched the hell out of this guy back. The cop, of course, he lost his feed. He got back on live feed, and the cop was with him. And he points out that he used a reasonable amount of self-defense, and the cop standing right next to him, walking with him, said, "Yes, you're okay. You're good. You're good."
Dude, have that in a court of law. Yeah. How did he get on the stage? Dude, whenever you're out in public like this,
they asked
Democrats said, "Did anybody want to say something?"
Yeah,
come on up,
get in line if you want to say something. And Mike was like, "Yeah,
I got one little thing to say, little something, something. I'm gonna go Norm Macdonald on y'all."
If you know what, if I was like that, and I'm going to definitely step out of my shell one of these days, but it doesn't come natural to me, so you have to exercise some patience. But when we went to the climate thing, it was huge. It was so big. It was many blocks. It went around. It was a parade. It's like a couple miles long. It went around the White House. Brian and I were there. We could have, if we had a big podium to do it, or maybe a megaphone, we could have got on and said, global warming is a hoax, and repeated it over and over, and that would have gotten an awesome reaction. And we could have broken the fourth wall that way, but at no point do we have like the microphone to do that. There was not like a podium. There was never a centralized location to do such a thing. Just to say,
Right. If it's already set up for you and all eyes are on the mic, you have an opportunity. Once in a lifetime, you have an opportunity.
Speaking of global warming, you want to talk about what happened? The Paris Accords was huge. This is big news. You got to understand that I was red-pilled on global warming years ago. Many years ago. And I think I red-pilled my dad, too, because we fought about it. Because it's all about science is an interesting field. There's a lot of people in it. It's kind of turned into like a clergy. It's like a religion. It's become a religion. It is the religion of atheism. If you didn't know, Science Book is their Bible.
Right.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, it makes sense. The Bible explains the world, the universe, God's creation, right? And if you don't believe in God, you certainly don't believe in the Bible. And by the way, I am the authority on this because I spent the first 25 years of my life pretty much an atheist, at the very best an agnostic. So I've become a Christian, afterwards. So I could tell you firsthand what they're thinking and why they're thinking. So anyway, Science Book explains the world, explains the universe, and it does it using these, scientific method and all this kind of stuff. So if you understand humanity, you understand humans believe things that take leaps of logic. They believe a lot of science that isn't proven, and so science becomes their religion, and a science book becomes their Bible. Anyway, so for the first time in my lifetime, and maybe the last time, hopefully not, we have a president who finally is waking up to the fact that global warming's a hoax. And we knew this during the campaign. Donald Trump was going around saying that global warming was a hoax created by China. You remember that, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah, and he repeated that multiple times. A lot of people forget about that. And so we knew that he was a science denier.
Of course.
A climate change denier from get-go, right? So I was thinking, gosh, if he actually becomes president, this is going to be interesting. Well, sure enough, the Paris Accord comes up, and there was all this speculation. The leaders, when he went and went to Europe, all the leaders were like, yep, we know that he was a science denier, but when we got him behind closed doors and we showed him the evidence, we think that we changed him. We blue-pilled him.
Dude, people were saying that,
They thought that.
We got him on the ropes.
Yeah. The leaders, these were like leaders in Europe were thinking that they had converted Trump. So he comes back, and sure enough, he's like, y'all could go to hell. And said, we're not going to be part of this ridiculous Paris Accord. Interestingly, if you got a chance to listen to his entire speech, where he very gingerly and slowly walks you through why he's not going to be a part of this Paris Accord anymore, kind of like a Brexit. Some people are saying that there's a lot of parallels there because the European Union was all about, we're all in this together. Well, climate change, we're all in this together. It's all big communist conspiracy. That's absolutely true.
200 countries involved. Every country in the world involved in this except for Syria and North Korea. Somebody, maybe not.
I think North Korea is on board too.
Yeah, North Korea's on.
It's a communist conspiracy, so North Korea is on board.
So, okay, here we go, folks. This is just how I split it all up. Every country in the world that is not like America, they're different than America.
Uh-huh.
Desperately wants to shame us into doing what they're doing, yet... So you're telling me I should do different and get your I don't want your results. America has always been different.
Yeah, but Brian, you're destroying the earth. You're making it cry. You're giving it a fever.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that fever right about now.
I don't know. It's getting pretty hot in this room right here. We need to crank on the AC or something.
Nancy Pelosi took to the mic, and she had something to say.
That we had a moral responsibility to be good stewards of God's creation, and in doing so, we must pay special attention to the needs of the poor.
Oh, come on.
We saw it as an environmental justice issue as well. The
environmental justice?
Community. When the Pope went to the White House, he talked about the dangers of air pollution when he was here. And just last week, the Pope met with President Trump and gave him a copy of his encyclical, Laudate Si, which made the case for strong, urgent action to halt the climate crisis.
She's drunk.
There's no climate crisis.
The climate is a common good belonging to all and meant for all. The Bible tells us that to minister to the needs of God's creation is an act of worship. To ignore those needs is to dishonor the God who made us. And that is just what we're doing by walking away from this accord. The question I have for Donald Trump as a mother and a grandmother of 5 and a grandmother of 9, how is he ever going to explain to his grandchildren what he did to the air they breathe?
Because he's going to tell them the truth.
You missed it.
And I have to assume that is the case.
Assuming there be air.
We all do, right?
Oh!
Brian's mad at me because I walked all over Nancy Pelosi. She said, assuming there'd be air.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so I just ruined Brian's whole night. Anyway, so it's Nancy Pelosi. Get over it. What?
Okay.
He wants to replay that so bad.
Just the end.
All
You've
right.
got to hear
God's creation. Okay,
bat nut crazy. This woman is bat nut crazy.
That we had a moral responsibility to have for Donald Trump as a mother and a grandmother of 5 and a grandmother of 9. How is he ever going to explain to his grandchildren what he did to the air they breathe, assuming they breathe air? And I have to assume that that is the case. We all do, right?
Victory?
That is kind of weird. Like, was she trying to tie together the logic of her saying that assuming they breathe air? What did she assume that they breathe?
And then she went right after that, took a deep breath, and went right into Selma.
Huh?
Racism in Selma.
Selma?
Alabama.
What about it?
Segregation.
How's that have anything to do with
I don't know. Dude, she lost me at
breathing air.
Breathing air.
Assuming they breathe air.
Dude,
because we know they're not human.
Dude,
they might be amphibians.
She is a complete and utter whack job.
Oh, so, okay. I thought she said assuming there is air, which would have made more sense because not much more sense, but a little bit more sense. Assuming that we're destroying the air. But anyway, yeah, it is the height of arrogance to think that human beings could have enough of an impact on the environment that we would do the kind of damage that we're talking about here. I understand if you're not throwing your garbage away, your local environment's going to be pretty bad. They say that Jerusalem, which is a very, very old city, is 20 feet higher. The ground is 20 feet higher than it was back in Jesus' time.
Because of all the garbage.
Yes. They didn't have Rumpke back then, which, by the way, if you're not from Cincinnati, Rumpke is the local landfill where they take all of our garbage and put it in one place. And if you live near there, you know what I'm smelling about.
Yeah. Yeah, we were looking for a house around there during the spring.
When there was a breeze?
I told the wife, I looked at the wife and I said, I'll tell you what, you see that right there? She said, yeah. What's that? Big mountain, right? Yeah, big mountain. That's the landfill.
And it's going to smell.
On a warm day.
Oh.
I bet. She asked the neighbor, and the neighbor's like, yeah. Often.
Right.
This is painful. This really and truly hurts.
All right.
So the thing you need to understand, if you're going to listen to us, you need to understand that I know a lot about science. Not just because I went to school for engineering, so I know about how science is applied, but also because I've studied it a lot since then. And I've looked at both sides of the arguments in science on a lot of different subjects. A big one is global warming. And both sides have made very compelling arguments. If you're one of these people that truly believes in global warming, I know all your arguments. I've heard them all, and I've heard them down to the most minute detail. Because a lot of times you get into the science, and if you don't have a science background, then you get to a point where it's over your head. I can go all the way to the end with it. I can go really deep with the science because I do understand it. I took the classes. I've been, everywhere. And any part of the field or science that I don't understand because maybe that's a particular subject that maybe I didn't take in college, I will go to Khan Academy or wherever to get the necessary information. Like, for instance, don't want to go down too far of this rabbit hole, but, in evolution, you keep on going. The argument with evolution goes all the way down to the molecular level in genetics.
Right.
We didn't learn molecular genetics in my field of engineering. There's engineering fields out there that do. So I had to learn what they were talking about in the different parts of the genome in order to make the proper argument against them. In climate change, I had to get way down deep into the science because I had to find out where their flaw was. Here's a big one that you need to understand. Climate change is a positive assertion. All right? This is simple logic. If I say, Brian, I think you murdered that guy over there, that's a positive assertion. I positively identify you as the murderer.
Right. Okay.
Brian doesn't exactly have to prove his innocence. He has to demand that I prove that...
Where's your proof, man?
My proof that I know that Brian's guilty of murder. I have to prove it, right? That is a fact of life. If you don't understand this simple logic, then you shouldn't be debating anybody. The person making the positive assertion has to show the evidence. So we're saying nothing's changing on Earth, right? There's no global warming. The sea levels haven't risen. Nothing's really different. If anything, when we were kids, the air in LA was brown. Flat out.
Not anymore.
It's not.
No, not anymore.
So if anything, since we were young, the environment's gotten a hell of a lot better. All right? Their assertion is that we're destroying the Earth, we're the world,
and there's more CO2.
Warming.
There's more CO2 in the atmosphere than ever before. Yet everything's getting cleaner.
Right, and that's because CO2 is not a pollutant.
Right.
All right. So the assertion is the globe is warming and that man is causing it. That's two assertions, two different assertions. I reject both of them because I need them to prove it. And the climate models are showing, and then there's all these little, I would call them circumstantial evidence, that the average global temperature is fractions of a degree warmer now than it was 100 years ago or 200 years ago. And listen, as a scientist, and if you're not a scientist, you're going to learn something. And if you are a scientist, you know this. You know this. The first question is, what instruments were they using in the 1800s to come up with a global average temperature?
A stick and some leaves and a rope and some
mercury
water,
thermometer
some
in
water.
In a couple places around the Earth. Did they have? Show me where you had a thermometer that you could measure in some island in the middle of the Pacific. And how long did it take you to get that measurement? And then what did you do with that? And how often were they taking it? Where were you collecting this from?
Well, there are places that we know for a fact they weren't.
Exactly. So don't give me this hockey stick crap. And then they say, yeah, well, we got these ice samples so we can kind of gauge what our... You're talking about a fraction of a degree of global variation of temperature. And you're telling me that you could tell by the the thickness of ice levels from ice cores from Antarctica. No, it's not going to happen.
I dug down 500 feet into a glacier, and at the bottom, I saw the ice was cold. It was so cold. It was so cold, which leads me to believe that when this was formed, it was cold.
Right, and then there's scientists out there who point out that there's just as much evidence that global warming causes excess CO2 as there is evidence that CO2 causes the globe to warm. So we don't even know which one causes the other. There's about the same amount of evidence either way. To me personally, I think there's a little bit more compelling evidence that as the globe warms, more CO2 is formed. So it's the opposite of what the global warming alarmists are saying.
And again, if they're talking about a half a degree in 100 years, even if that was even remotely close to being true,
let's say they nailed it.
Nailed it hard.
Right. We were right.
More crops, more food, more outside time.
Exactly.
More fun, more family. Everybody will have suntans.
And dying of melanoma.
Well, no, they say here in the Midwest, or if you have seasons other than L.A., because if you're in L.A., there's one season.
Well, there's two. There's June gloom.
Oh, and the Santa Ana winds.
Santa Ana winds.
Yeah.
That's two. Anything else?
Oh, the fires. The fires.
Fire season. Oh, it's fire season again.
Dude, for real. Dude, during the fire season, you're not allowed to go camping and smoking. You're not allowed to smoke.
No, that's terrible. It's like hunting season. You can't go hunting if it's not hunting season.
Right. So they got the fire season. They got the Santa Ana wind season. They've got the June gloom season.
Yeah, June gloom.
Okay, so I digress. But we've got winter, summer, spring, fall.
Let me tell you about the
good. Please do, because damn it, man, I lost where I was going.
Well, no, I was going to tell you about the impact of the sun. Okay, you were talking about the different seasons.
The different seasons. Here in Cincinnati, they attribute depression during the winter times for the lack of sun, and a quick remedy.
So people would be happier.
Yes. A quick remedy if you're ever feeling gloomy. Now, don't do this all the time, but every once in a while, go to a tanning booth and get it just one time.
Okay.
And that literally wakes your body up and starts producing chemicals, and you get happy again.
Okay.
Because it's pretend, it's fake sun, but it tricks your body into believing the sun's out again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the same stuff that hits you when the sun is hitting you in the tanning salon, because they have the bulbs that give you the same amount of...
So my whole thing is, yes, I go every year. I have to admit, every year I go through a bit of a...
Funk,
if you will. And especially this year, when we had at least 2 or 3 straight months of no sun. It's like cloudy for weeks and weeks straight.
Yeah.
Spring's here. You can't get me inside.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Loving it.
Especially since you never turn the AC on.
I did for the show tonight.
Oh, great. Anyway, so, let's talk about the sun real quick. You know, look at the difference in temperature outside between day and night. And then you know that the difference between summer and winter, which is the difference between being able to be outside and getting hot and having to turn the AC on, and in the wintertime, when everything's frozen solid, you got snow on the ground and all this stuff, big temperature difference. The difference is the angle that the sun's hitting the earth ends up causing that big, that dramatic of a temperature swing. So don't sit there and tell me that sunspots and just difference in intensity of the energy coming off the sun, that has no impact whatsoever on the global Absolutely. If I get that big of a temperature swing between day and night, whether the sun's up or the sun's down, or that big of a temperature swing based on whether the sun's hitting me at a right angle during the summer or at a steep angle in the winter, of course these little variations are going to make a big impact. So somebody pointed out somebody on Twitter pointed out, I'm sorry if it's you that's listening, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. Somebody said, that half a degree or half of a 0.1% of a degree that's going to change in the next 100 years would be totally wiped out if we had one big giant volcanic eruption.
Oh, absolutely. I was getting ready to get to that point. If you want to curb any kind of pollutants in the atmosphere, you're going to have to plug up every single volcano in the world.
Yeah. Well, in the ash, a big one, it'd have to be a really big one. A really big volcano can put enough ash into the atmosphere to cause several years of cooling.
Mount St. Helens?
Yeah, I don't know if that may have caused...
Had an effect.
Oh, yeah, they said that ash was falling all the way around the world. It was coming back around and hitting the Mount St. Helens from like it was literally encircling the globe.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if you get a big enough one to where you get enough ash where it kind of dims the sun a little bit, you'll have an entire global temperature change that could last many years.
Okay, and then they'll record that as being normal, and then when the ash goes away, Mother Earth absorbs it.
Yeah.
And it warms up to a comfortable temperature. They say, look, it's global warming.
Well, I pointed out on Twitter, and I hope that you libs were listening out there or following our Twitter, that if an asteroid is going to hit the Earth that we know is going to cause a multi-year winter, very cool the Earth down to critically dangerous temperatures, would the Paris Climate Accords be willing to force us all to pump as much CO2 in the atmosphere as possible to counteract those effects? And I guarantee you they'd be like, what? We would absolutely not allow for you guys to do that. They wouldn't.
No.
But I'm speculating. Okay. I might be wrong about that.
I'm a house nigga. No, it's...
Oh, well, we're off to... So going from Kathy Lee Griffin to global climate fake hoaxery. Is that even a word?
I'm a house nigga.
So, Bill Maher, by the way, you laughing about that is enough to get you ostracized. I'm just saying. I have a lot to say about this. Oh, could get me in trouble too. But yeah, so what's going on with Bill Maher? So this week, right at the height of the Kathy Griffin debacle, Bill Maher, as you just heard, dropped the M-bomb in front of Ben Sass as he had Ben Sass on as a guest. And it caused Ben Sass to chuckle. And so the left goes out and tries to destroy Ben Sass for not immediately destroying Bill Maher on his own show about using the N-word.
So Ben Sass. So
he's very sassy.
So Ben Sass laughing. Here's the entire 38-second clip.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Be a kid thing.
It's not anymore?
Not out here. No, adults dress up for Halloween. They don't do that in Nebraska?
It's frowned upon. Yeah, we don't do that quite as much. But
wow, I got to get to Nebraska more.
You're welcome. We'd love to have you work in the fields with us.
Work in the field?
That's part of that. That's
Senator, I'm a house nigga. No, it's a joke. Thank you.
So for those of you that can't follow this joke, I'll break it down for you. So in Nebraska, there's a lot of farms, okay? And apparently in liberal urban areas, they think, when they hear about farming, they think slavery right off the bat. That is an absolute fact. Urban liberals cannot see a farm and not think KKK, slavery, picking cotton in the fields. They can't do it. It's just a fact. So he brings up working in the fields, which, Nebraska, I mean, it's like...
There ain't nothing out there but fields.
It's like cornfields for days, right? It's like just flat cornfields everywhere. And whatever else the hell they grow, it's probably mostly corn. So,
because they got to use it for ethanol. Turn food into fuel. Never mind, folks. That's for another show. That's for another show.
By the way, we've had shows where we've ranted about the ethanol mandate. But anyway, by the way, a lot of carburetors destroyed.
Right. Well, and destroying the entire food staple for Mexico.
Well,
the Mexican food staple is corn.
Racist. It's racist.
Yeah, corn's racist.
Definitely the ethanol mandate is. But anyway, so getting back to the point. So breaking down this joke, it's Nebraska. I mean, it's what they have there. It's big, large, multi-acre farms. We'll have you work the fields. And of course, that immediately invokes the slavery thoughts in this liberal idiot's head. And so he decided, let's make a joke about it. No, I'm not going to work in the fields. I'm a house N-word. So, of course, Ben Sass chuckles about it.
Uncomfortable as all get out, I'm sure.
Well, if you also listen, I never heard this until Brian just played it. But as soon as Bill said it, he said, no, that's a joke. I'm just kidding.
Jokes, folks. This is jokes for the masses.
It's a joke. I know my career's over. I can't believe it said that.
And then the applause sign comes up.
Yeah, and then there was cheering like, hey, we're okay with you saying that. Probably not a single black person in the entire audience. There's some of my friends on Facebook have come out and said that words should not be used in any way, shape, or form. It's offensive, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting here. Somebody accused Ben Sass, or one of them, it might have been Bill Maher that they were accusing. I hope it was Bill Maher of normalizing the N-word.
I've talked to some black friends, and there might have been an article out there about normalizing the N-word, because for an entire race to have the monopoly and own a single word that no other race can use, only them and no one else can say this, is very, very problematic in our society.
Yeah, it just reeks of censorship. Like they're censoring people of their freedom of speech when they can't use a certain word.
And I'm not saying I would use it,
right? But here's the thing:
just
the black liberals, and let me tell you something: black conservatives don't like using that word.
Black conservatives are also ostracized.
Yes,
as all kinds of awful things for being conservative.
But black liberals, and let's be more specific. Rappers have completely normalized that word. They have normalized it to the point where white people are like, well, yeah, I guess I could maybe use it. I mean, I hear rappers use it nonstop. Have you ever seen the videos of white people singing the rap lyrics of a rap song that uses the N-word in front of their black friend, and when the N-word comes up, they don't say it?
Dude.
I saw a video where they were making fun of white people for not saying the lyric when it comes up because they're in front of their black friend.
Dude, I'm so done with this. This is so wrong.
I know. By the way, if I'm singing a rap song that I like and that I know the lyrics to, I'm not censoring any words out. I'm saying the word because that's what the lyrics are.
If Vanessa said sassy looked uncomfortable for sure.
Sassy. It's sass.
Sassy. S-A-S-S-Y.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll take it.
What? How do you say it?
He probably was uncomfortable, but so was Bill.
How do you say his name?
Sass.
S-A-S-S? Sass.
With an E on the end, but it's like sass.
Okay. Hey, Kekistan Rose said, keep in mind that the show is pre-recorded. You and I talked about that earlier this week. This is a pre-recorded show. Nothing on HBO is live, ever. It's all...
Not that I know.
It goes through producers. It gets... and
they're like, let's keep it. I think we're fine. It's kind of Kathy Griffin saying...
We're going to help her out.
No, Kathy was probably like... I think this is going to go over awesome. This is going to be great. And then it didn't.
Vanessa called him Sassy Pants.
Sassy Pants.
Sass. S-A-S-S-E.
We don't like Sass. He is a Republican, but he's a total rhino idiot. And here, let me tell you something. I came out with a tweet. I don't know if you guys saw this, and if you did, you should have retweeted it. You know the old Jeff Foxworthy, you might be a redneck.
Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah, so I said, you might be a cuck-servative. You might be a cuck-servative if you have to apologize for the progressive saying the N-word within earshot of you. Why is he apologizing? He's been apologizing for days because he's sitting next to some racist old white guy using the N-word because he's a progressive Democrat. And Sass has to apologize for 3 days.
So he did do an apology tour.
Absolutely. He did on Twitter. He did a 3-part tweet. 1/3. Guys, I'm just saying, if I could go back in time, I would have really challenged him on it. It was one of those, this is cuck city right here. Brian, you know.
I like black people.
No.
I really like
I was going to point this out because Brian would know. Have you ever been that guy? I have. I grew up my whole life doing this. Where you get owned in a cap down war or something with your friends. You get just owned. You just go home with you go home defeated. And when you get home, you say, man, if I could go back in time, I would have said this.
Okay. I got beat down so much as a young child.
Verbally, right? Yeah.
All the time. And I would always say that.
You go home and say,
so
damn it! I wish I could have said that.
By the time I was a young
teenager?
Tween.
Oh, tween, okay.
12, 13.
You had it down.
My mouth it got the best of me.
Dude, because you got good at it.
I was vicious and I was brutal. And for those of you who've known me through my teenage and 20s,
I know.
At the times that you've been with me in my early 20s, dude,
I would be the target.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got it good.
So I helped raise you up.
Yeah, you made a man out of me. Brian's 2 years older than me. So
I had no idea, dude.
Not only that, but Brian is Brian's like, I don't know if he's normal size or bigger for the kids his age. But I was a runt. I was like the tiniest kids. I was a target for a lot of bullies.
It didn't happen until the seventh grade, 8th grade. I sprouted, went really tall and skinny.
Okay, so I was the kid in 10th grade that looked like he was in 3rd grade.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh,
that was me. So I had to really fight for respect.
And for those of you who want your son to grow up and not be a fighter per se, but want to be able to defend himself. Forget the karate lessons. Forget all that stuff. Get him into wrestling.
Karate's like dance where you have to hit wooden pieces of wood.
Yeah, this
dance.
Wrestling at the school level, not WWE. I'm a real
not top
Greco-Roman wrestling style. I'm telling you, I stopped being beat up by every bully ever. After my first year of wrestling.
You could really defend yourself with a background in wrestling.
Because I literally had a complete control over all of them.
Right.
I embarrassed the living bejesus out of them.
Yeah, you'll frustrate them at the least. At the least. And you're going to win. You're going to win flat out. All the MMA fighters, they have a very strong
that is true. I used to watch that, and I used to say, oh, wow, this guy has a background in wrestling. Watch this one.
Brock Lesnar, who was like champion for a while, he had a lot of injuries. That was his problem. But besides the injuries, he was unbeatable. He's an NCAA champion in wrestling. But anyway, so back to Sass. He went on Twitter and said, if I can go back in time, if I could do it all over again, I should have said this. And he tweeted it out.
Oh, what a loser.
I would have told Bill Maher, I would have said, hey, you shouldn't be using that word. It was the pinnacle of cuckworthiness. It was so sad. It was sass. It was so bad. I just was like, oh, you've got to lose in a primary challenge. You have got to lose bad. Because we got to get rid of these rhinos, these people that are undermining our president, who are aiding and abetting the enemies of America that we call Democrats, who are refusing to accept the results of a constitutionally, democratically elected president of the United States.
Okay, Kekistan Rose, I did not say that you were a dancer. Carrie mentioned karate and pretty dancers. That
I'm
was
just
not
saying.
me ever.
Okay.
He's got 25 years martial arts.
Man. Wow. I would, if I had to take a wrestler and pit it against a karate person, I would definitely put my money on the wrestler. But it's just, you need some space, I think, in karate. And wrestlers know how to close that space quickly.
Correct.
But anyway,
digress. Not too much.
We'll have to have Mike Cernovich weigh in on this because he has a background in martial arts. His dad got him into that stuff.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
His dad was trying to toughen him up. I'm not sure if he did any wrestling, but if you ever read the Gorilla Mindset, the very first chapter he goes into the background when he was a kid, and he did that kind of stuff. I think the big part of karate is if you watch the Karate Kid, he actually competes. He enters tournaments.
Right.
If you were in karate and you competed in tournaments, I'll give you a lot of respect.
Definitely.
Especially if they're allowed to punch you and stuff like that. I give you a lot of respect for that kind of stuff. In wrestling, you're not really wrestling unless you're actually competing. Even in practice, part of practice is we'll put you in a situation and we'll say one of you guys has to win position. Ready, go. And then they go and they battle it out. So you're constantly in competition at all times in wrestling. The only time you're not is if you're just drilling it where the guy's letting you do it. But that's like only half of practice. And then in the weekends you go to tournaments and you're like competing to win against other people. So
really quick.
Before we run out of time, we have a couple minutes
the
left.
Paris Climate Deal was signed by Obama in 2015. It is not a treaty, but is actually a treaty. There's a lot of illegalities going on. Something called the Treaty of Treaties that makes this agreement technically a treaty. Trump does not need, because it's not an official treaty, Trump does not need Congress or Senate to get rid of this, to be done with this. However, Trump does actually need to physically, not just say we're out, but physically actually get us out of it. He's on the road. People making fun of him for saying I was elected to represent the people of Pittsburgh, not Paris. If you take it in context, when he's in Pittsburgh talking to everyday average American.
Was he in Pittsburgh when he said it?
Damn you, why would you ask me that? I'm in the middle of a rant.
Oh, go ahead.
So when he's talking to everyday average, look it up on the Google while I'm ranting. Why he's talking to everyday average Americans that are losing their jobs because of this Paris climate change. Middle America, we're all about industry. We're all about machinery, invention. That's why they call us the heartland of America. I mean, this is Ohio, Pittsburgh, Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia, Indiana. This climate change accord or whatever it is would absolutely destroy any new businesses coming up and force other businesses to curb whatever that they say. And the rules that they put in the Paris climate deal could be changed by the other 200 countries at any given time. And then that allows them to have our money get into our pocketbooks and take our American dollar. Get us out, become isolationist, walk away. I'm done.
Isolationist. There's a lot of people that are like, whoa, we're not trying to be isolationist.
No, I am, Kofefi.
What's Kofefi?
It's what we do.
Okay.
Kofefi.
I don't know. Is that something that Trump tweeted out?
Yeah, Kathy Griffin just went Kofefi all over herself.
Yikes.
A Breitbart put on a coffee cup. This is Kofefi. Caution. Hot Kofefi.
Somebody said something about not having their morning Kofefi yet.
Yeah, Breitbart. Coffee cup.
Okay.
Pretty cool. Loved it how the entire the news media after Kofefi just absolutely imploded. So bad so that Trump retweeted out, hey, funny, we're not talking about Russia anymore, huh? Kofefi. That's hilarious.
Well, Spicer was brilliant when they were trying to ask him if it was a mistake, what was he thinking, who were the people in charge, shouldn't somebody have seen that, why was it left up for a couple hours, why was it deleted, what was he trying to say, how could a mistake like that be left up there? And then Spicer said, look, only the closest inner circle know what that means. We all know what it means. And then they erupted. They all started screaming out all at once questions, all at once. It was hilarious. And so the bottom line is that if it was strictly designed to be a shiny object for the journalist, the fake stream news, it was brilliant, and Spicer handled that brilliantly. Because he made it an even brighter, shiny object.
I love Spicy.
He set it on fire.
I love Spicy. And SNL calls him Spicy.
Okay.
And making fun of him. But I tell you what, I own it. He is spicy. Spicy is spicy.
A spicy meatball.
So what's the over-under on Pittsburgh going Trump 2020 now?
Oh, probably really good.
Yeah.
Now, the county that Pittsburgh is in did go blue, but then again, if you're a metropolitan area, you pretty much went blue. Even Cincinnati, which was a huge disappointment because Hamilton County, which Cincinnati's in, went red both elections for Bush.
Right.
It was the swing county, not anymore.
Incoming Kofefi memes, hashtag Smith Lord. Okay,
right,
sounds great.
I'll take it. God bless you. And I say God bless you instead of just bless you because I am not the Lord.
No.
That was a joke that I stole from, what's his name? I can't remember. Whatever. He's not that important.
The U.S. Navy joins Japanese forces off the coast of North Korea to do military training.
Oh.
Big giant ships, big huge battleships and cruisers between Japan and America doing joint naval forces in front of North Korea.
I'm still sticking to the Smith Radio position on North Korea, which is I listen to the South Koreans, and they don't. They're yawning.
They could care less.
I know. They are totally like, oh yeah, this happens every election cycle.
I wonder if the media, especially the mainstream media over here, that's giving Kim Jong-un a voice, literally giving him a voice.
Right.
I wonder if they're using this to distract or wag the dog type of thing to help create something that isn't, in order to not ruin Trump's presidency, but
to bait him.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying.
So it's not Kim Jong-il that's baiting him. It's like the mainstream media is like, ooh, let's create a shiny object over here for Trump to distract Trump on, and let's see if we can trip him up and make him cause nuclear annihilation or something.
Right, exactly.
They're trying to troll him, and there's lives at stake, and they don't care. They'll sever a head and hold it up in front of a camera. They don't care.
Don't make no never mind.
And even though that the person whose head that they chopped off has an 11-year-old son that might be seeing it, they don't care.
Don't make no never mind.
Right.
So as the show plays out,
so Bill Maher, should he be fired?
I don't know. I don't know. I almost don't even care. I don't know.
I don't think he should be fired.
No.
What's this?
We're leading out the show. We're rolling the show out.
All right.
It's one of my favorite songs from back in the 70s.
Are we going to have it taken down off of YouTube now?
No, they just said they won't monetize this show.
Oh, no. Well, you're going to have to send money to our Patreon.
Yeah, our Patreon account is Smith Radio. It's MYTHRADIO.
Is it? How about a GoFundMe?
Which one's better?
Probably Patreon, because they can subscribe forever.
Really?
Yeah. They could do like a couple dollars a month forever.
In case that money's not there anymore. Make sure you got money in that credit card account.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you're very welcome, Mary Lou. We love doing the show every Sunday night. This is going on our 4th year. We love doing this together. Like I said, we've done this for years on the phone, and nobody else was listening. It didn't matter. And our first year of doing this on Spreaker, nobody listened. But that was okay.
We had a couple people.
We had fun, and then Sam Keels came on board early on in the game.
It's been a long time listener.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary Lou. Thank you, Vanessa Delaney, Kekistan Rose. We going live stream on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube live stream. I don't know. Yeah.
If we go video, it's going to be YouTube for sure. Everybody's going YouTube. Okay. We're going to do video very soon.
Working on that, making that happen. Got the green screen up. I just need to get the Mac PC gamer issue figured out.
Oh, you need like $1,500
because we switched over to Macs from PC, but then apparently
nobody's apps work on it. It's ridiculous.
All right, follow us on Twitter this week, and I will tweet out to you our Patreon account so that you can be a part of that.
We need
thank you so much,
people.
Marilu. Pray for those in London. I don't pray for something. A miracle? I don't know.
They need a miracle.
The Ice Age is coming.
It is.
Dude, they were worried about the Ice Age back in the 70s. Now they're worried about global warming because it never showed up. Change their mind.
I'd rather have global warming than an ice age.
Oh, absolutely. No more ice for me. Summer's over. All right, folks. What an incredible fast 3 hours you'll spend anywhere in the world here on Smith Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Smith Radio, YouTube Smith Radio, Facebook Smith Radio. We're all over the place. There's all kinds of channels out there that I have signed us up for. I have no idea, but we're everywhere. Anything that I could get a SMYTH radio on, I did it. So share it, like it, retweet it, tell your friends and family. Thank you, folks. Till next Sunday.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.